me down. I'll never let you sweep me off my feet. I won't let you in again. The messages I've tried to send, my information's just not going in. Burning bridges shore to shore, I'll break away from something more. I'm not turned on to love until it's cheap. Been there, done that, messed around, I'm having fun, don't put me down. I'll never let you sweep me off my feet. This time, baby, I'll be bulletproof. This time, baby, I'll be bulletproof. I won't let you turn around and tell me now I'm much too proud to walk away from something when it's dead. Do your dirty words come out to play when you are hurt? There's certain things that should be left unsaid. Tick, 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 tick on the watch, and life's too short for me to stop. Oh baby, your time is running out. I won't let you turn around and tell me now I'm much too proud. All you do is fill me up with doubt. This time, baby, I'll be bulletproof. This time, baby, I'll be bulletproof. This time, baby, I'll be bulletproof. This time, baby, to stick to another man, a man that surely deserves me, but I think you do. So I cry and I pray and I beg, love me, say that you love me, fool me, go on and fool me, love me, pretend that you love me, leave me, just say that you need me. So I cry and I beg for you to love me, say that you love me, leave me, just say that you need me. I can't care about anything but you. Lately I have desperately pondered, spending my nights awake, and I wonder what I could have done in another way to make you stay. Reason will not lead to solution. I will end up lost in confusion. I don't care if you really care, as long as you don't go. So I cry and I pray and I beg, love me, say that you love me, fool me, go on and fool me, love me, pretend that you love me, leave me, just say that you need me. So I cry and I beg for you to love me, say that you love me, leave me, just say that you need me. I can't care about anything but you. Anything but Anything but you. Why won't you say that you love me? Anything but you. 'Cause I just can't think about anything. Anything but you.
Hey, senor, why you not play a happy song, huh? Like Mariana? You like the vamp, huh? Vamp till ready, huh? The faucet she is dripping and the fence she's fallen down. My pocket needs some money so I can go into town. My brother isn't working and my sister doesn't care. The car, she needs a motor so I can go anywhere. Mañana,
Good morning.
mañana,
Good morning.
mañana is good enough for me.
Welcome to Daywave, guys. How are you doing? Today is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm good. Thank you for asking me. Thank you for asking me. Yeah, the beard is very controversial. Either people love that I shaved it or hate that I shaved it. There seems to be no real middle ground here with the beard. No one's just like, I guess it's just, you piece of shit, you shave the beard, or finally, Royce, you piece of shit, you shave the beard. Good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing, huh? Good? Great. Wonderful. Beard lives matter. Do you shave your legs? I do not shave my legs, sir. I do not shave my legs, sir. I do like self-appointed program director. He has become my, self-appointed program director. I follow his direction. He tells me what to do. We've been doing 2 for Tuesdays coming up here. War of the Roses, of course. That's another big thing that we're going to be doing here on Daywave. We will be doing a live remote from a local car dealership also. So a lot of stuff going on here. You know, we're going to change into a morning zoo radio show, which a lot of people call me that anyway. So I might as well embrace it. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Trenton, wait, it's okay to shave your legs too. Well, yeah, obviously you. Obviously you shave your legs. You buff man. Can't let the hair cover up the gains. Yeah. So yeah, some people are like, you know what Owen did with Patreon. And look, I mean, good for him, obviously. I mean, I know we're also on a Patreon. So I do kind of understand that aspect of it. But what they did to him, you know, I mean, and they did to other people, have done Lauren Southern and other people, they should do something about it. Absolutely. But I guess the funniest part is because I play the Pomplamoose stuff, which has Jack Conti, the owner of Patreon, on it. I still like their music. You know what I mean? Like, and I liked his music, just to be clear, I liked and played his music before he became the owner of Patreon. So I liked him when he was just Jack Conti, the music guy. So, I mean, you know, what are you going to do? The smaller beard makes for less tres leches tidy up. That is true. And again, I don't even like tres leches. And you've ruined all my Hispanic desserts things too. I did. I interviewed Jack Conti before he founded Patreon. I interviewed him when he was just doing the music stuff. I think he was announcing he was going to do a Patreon. But that was the extent. We talked about it a little bit, but it was more about his music and stuff. So don't start with the turnover stuff, please. All right, I'm not going to get into the Hispanic dessert thing. It's offensive. It's accurate, but hurtful when it comes to that. I don't really feel like, you know, being hurt anymore by my ethnicity's desserts, if that makes sense. But good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing? You doing good? How's your morning going? People still working from home? I know people that went to work and they had to come back and work from home again, at least in Florida. I don't know how it is everybody else, but everywhere else. But I know there's a lot of people that went to work for like a month and now they're back here, sitting at their house. I don't know if I don't think till at least at the end of the new year people are going to be going back to work again. At least not in Florida. I'm going to vacation to Cancun in September. We'll have a good time. Cancun's safe. People, you know, there's a lot of parts of Mexico that aren't safe, but all the tourist spots, they tend to be pretty safe. You know, don't wander off too far off the beaten path, but they're pretty good. It's nice. Like Cozumel's really nice too. If you've ever been there, it's small, but their beaches are beautiful, and I definitely highly recommend Cozumel, Mexico. If you ever go there, head out to the Presidente Hotel. Does the Patreon case decision expose PayPal to the same thing? Well, I mean, it all really depends on what PayPal's terms of service was in terms of arbitration, because, I mean, I think what they caught with Patreon was the arbitration bullshit. Like, they changed their rules in the middle of the game while they were getting sued and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it's not going to do anything to Twitter or Facebook or anything like that because they're not a payment processor, or it's not really money being exchanged. I mean, I guess unless you're running ads on Facebook, look, man, I don't fucking know. I'm not really sure how it works. Oh, it's Semper Reloaded's birthday. Happy birthday, Semper Reloaded. Good sir. Good sir. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. Yeah, man. So, I mean, good for Owen. I'm glad it's working out. More than anything, to, you know, stop people from getting banned from sites. Maybe it'll get Patreon to stop banning everybody from their sites over dumb shit, you know? Only people that didn't agree with the new toss can sue. Okay, but still, I mean, I get it. That's a good point, but still, you know, it's something. It's something. And, you know, it's kind of like that South Park iTunes episode. How many people actually read new terms of service when you sign up for something? Do you? I mean, I know I don't. And I know you know, they say you probably should. And I mean, that's the thing, you know, they do it on purpose. They make these terms of services, they make them 500 pages long, you know, and who's going to sit there before getting into whatever thing you're going to get into? What can you do, you know? And if you decline it, then you just can't use the service. Whatever that service may be, whether it be Twitter, whether it be Facebook, whether it be whatever. If you say no, they're not going to just let it go. Oh, you said no. Okay, cool. But there is a story, and it's legit, but it's from years ago. This guy received one of those introductory offers from a credit card company. And the introductory offer was, you know, your typical like, oh, you know, this much percentage, blah, 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 blah. It came in the mail. The guy took it. He put it in, I guess he scanned it, put it in his computer, and he edited the terms of service. He edited the terms of service to, they'll charge me like no interest, something to that effect. They will, for every time they add, you know, let me just pull up the story because I'm going off of memory here. Changes terms of service credit card. Let's see here. An interesting case has surfaced in Russia where a man is suing a bank for more than 24 million rubles, about $700,000, in compensation over a handcrafted document that was signed and recognized by the bank. Dmitry Arkov said that in 2008 he received a letter from Tinkoff Credit Systems in his mailbox. It was a credit card application form with the agreement and contract enclosed, much like the applications you receive for Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Arkov filled the form out and returned the signed application, though what he sent back was not exactly the same document that was sent to him. Arkov changed some parts for his own benefit. Most notably, in the small print, he opted in for a 0% APR, no fees, and added that the customer is not obliged to pay any fees and charges imposed by the bank's tariffs. He also changed the URL of the website where the terms and conditions were published from the TCS Bank to tcsbank.at.ua. Additionally, he added a special clause that would protect him should the bank break the agreement in a unilateral manner. For each unilateral change in the terms provided in the agreement, the bank would be asked to pay the customer 3 million rubles or cancellation fee of 6 million rubles. Arkov then sent the updated agreement to the bank shortly thereafter, received the bank's signed and certified copy as well as a credit card. However, after 2 years of active use, the bank decided to terminate the credit cards in 2010 because he was late paying the minimum required amount. In 2012, the bank sued Arkov for $1,336, 45,000 rubles, an amount that included the remaining balance, fees, and late payment. The court decided that the agreement Arkov was valid and required Arkov to settle only for the balance of $500. Despite the apparent victory, Arkov fought the bank on August 1st. The District Court of Voznesensk launched hearings about the countersuit against the bank. As Tinkoff Credit Systems had not honored the 8 clauses in the agreement, Arkov wants the bank to pay an amount of 24 million rubles, which is $700,000. A law firm of consultant, which is representative, says that the bank decision to terminate the agreement cannot be lawful because its client was not paid the 6 million rubles. The bank has so far said that the case was related to non-reoccurring technical issues and is willing to have its day in court. Now, there's an update. The dispute between Arkov and the credit system escalated when the bank's chairman, Olgov Tinkoff, took to Twitter to respond to the media's interest. On August 14th, both sides announced a settlement on undisclosed terms, so they did settle. The conflict is counterproductive, so we agreed to settle it by withdrawing our mutual complaints. So the bank ended up settling. So basically, he changed it. The bank didn't read it, and they just gave him a credit card. So the bank did get a taste of their own medicine. if that makes sense. They got a taste of their own medicine in terms of changing the agreement, in terms of what they were allowed to do. And now they're complaining. It's so basically what banks do. I mean, they tell you, of course, to read everything. And look, it's good practice too, obviously, to read everything. But if I were to ask the chat, I mean, when a new terms of service comes up, how many people actually read it? And I'm asking because maybe some people do. Maybe some people have been burned before. Maybe because of that, some people really do pay attention to that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's happened in the U.S., but it is something that I do remember happening. And who's got the fucking time? I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, to read the new terms of service for anything, and also it's legalese. And unless you're a fucking lawyer, like, are you really going to understand everything that's in it? So what do? Not use things? This would never happen in the USSR. Well, yeah, obviously not. I always read the terms of service, and I always put my cart back. Well, okay, the second thing I believe, but I can't imagine you read all the terms of service for every single thing, right? I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you should. Maybe you should. But anyway, this all leads back to the Patreon thing. So, well, I guess we'll see what happens with Patreon. I guess we'll see if this happens with PayPal and other stuff, and Twitter and Facebook and yada, yada, yada. I don't know. Just don't get mad when they come back and make you human centipede. Yeah, I mean, look, especially in like Russia, or if you're in Germany or any place like that, like if they come back and they turn you into some sort of monster, some sort of 3-intestine tract monster, you can't be mad because maybe that was in their terms of service. Human centipede, which is of course one of the greater South Park episodes. Why would the salesman with a good? Why question salesman with a gold tooth and a pinky ring? Yeah. Am I doing shows in blackface? No, sir. I only read that after they said I violated the terms of service, and even then it's so vague. Yeah, they do leave it vague on purpose. That's the other side of it. They leave stuff open to interpretation on purpose. To see what they could actually get away with. And, I mean, again, it's not exclusive to credit card companies, It's everywhere, But I don't know. I guess we'll see. We got some donations here. We'll play them, and then we'll do some other stuff. Let's check it out.
Whoa! Look at that.
Good morning, champion.
Good morning, Spent. Thank you, sir. Frozen with another cart thing.
Whoa! Look at that.
Weekly reminder to my big buddy Royce Lopez.
Here we go.
Jesus saves. Carts.
Here we go. I know. I knew a guy who didn't read the terms of service. Now Chase Bank got his soul and his college account. Way to breathe, no breath. Look, I've been returning my carts. Okay, I'm getting better when it comes to the cart stuff. I really am. All right? I really, really am. You're right. We live in a society, and we have to be good. Sometimes with carts. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. So this happened a little again, going back to the morning zoo stuff. We talked about them changing Splash Mountain because it was culturally insensitive to the Princess and the Frog, right? Which by the way, we all agree. And it's not even me being racist, Black Princess. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying in general, would we all agree? we all agree that it was just one of the worst Disney movies in general. Forget the Black Princess, forget the frog, forget all that. Nobody cared. It was just shit. It was just a shit movie. Out of all the Disney movies, anyway. So, Splash Mountain here, in the middle of the ride, which is one of those log rides. I mean, if you haven't been on this one, you've been on another one. I'm sure you've been on one, Six Flags, or whatever fucking place you've been. One of the boats started sinking. Look, it's underwater. Want to read this? So then what you're hearing in the background is one of the Disney employees says, we're asking you right now not to get out of the boat. And they're like, the boat's underwater. I understand that, but this is a safety hazard. So should they stay in, it's only 2 feet deep. No one's going to drown, but still it sucks, right?
Attention on splash. Power.
Look at that. The whole thing went underwater. The whole thing went underwater.
Do you see them both?
Attention on splash. Power.
And look, the water is absolutely disgusting and nasty. The water is... It's again. I mean, I like The Simpsons too much, but it is like the Simpsons episode. Remember when when they go to Duff Gardens and Bart tells Lisa to drink the water, and then she thinks she's the Lizard Queen. And I would get out of it too. Fuck them, right? I mean, absolutely. You gonna stay in that shitty fucking water? Are you fucking kidding me? Hell no. That shit is fucking disgusting. Yeah, I am the Lizard Queen. What great Simpsons episode. See, I got another donation here. Let's play that.
Whoa! Look at Dave.
George Floydstein was led to the Zyklon knee chambers by convicted guard Derek von Chauvin. In the winter of 1944, when the Soviets found him, they found a piece of paper in his pocket. And it said Black Lives Matter.
Wow, man, I didn't know that. That's fucking crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's, I knew what was going to happen I knew that when that video came out, it was just... Nobody was going to change their mind. One side is saying they pulled the gun on him. He was worried about getting shot. And, of course, you know, more the side that I'm obviously leaning on was the fucking, yeah, they did. But also they asked you kindly to get back into the police cart, and you didn't do it. So, you know, and the gun was put away. And the other thing is that, you know, again, nobody's mind's going to change because of that video. I mean, I can't think of any scenario when anybody's mind would actually change in the Floyd thing. I haven't really... Can you think of a scenario? I mean, seriously, what would have to come out for the Floyd people to the pro-Floyd people to actually go, oh, okay, well, he was fucked up and what he did was wrong and blah, 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 blah. I mean, even like, you know, here, let me read something to you because I think I didn't notice this until after the show. Let's see here. George Floyd body cam. Okay, look, so is this it? I need it from the Daily Mail. Here it is. From the Daily Mail. Here's what it says. It says this is just the description from the Daily Mail on the video that we played yesterday. And again, I didn't notice it till after the show. The terror on George Floyd's face as rookie cop pointed a gun at his head while he sits in his car can be seen today for the first time. DailyMail.com has exclusively obtained video from the body cam of Officer Thomas Lane and Alex Coogan, who were part of the Floyd's fatal arrest on Memorial Day in Minneapolis. Floyd died after the officer, Derek. We know. The tape showing the minute detail how Floyd begs, Mr. Officer, please don't shoot me. Please, man, before the struggle and ended with his death. It also shows how Floyd resisted the cops and tried to force him into the back of the car, telling them he suffers from claustrophobia and anxiety. The video begins with blah, 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 blah. Thank you, Bigot Smalls. Appreciate it. So even in the Daily Mail's description of it, the terror on George Floyd's face, come on, man. Come on. Shut the fuck up. Seriously. That's not objective reporting. That was setting a narrative. How about just put the video up and, everyone could decide? Right? Am I wrong with that? So, again, look. Whether he should have sat there and put his knee on his neck for so long, I mean, I could argue no, the cops could have been better trained. And somebody brought something up in the comments that I thought was really good. It was a really good point because we did mention yesterday, the cops should be better trained. And I think we agree the cops should be better trained. But if the cops would be better trained, a better trained cop would have put him in the back of the car anyway, right? Even though he was arguing and fighting, he would have just put him in the car anyway, and a lot of this would have been this. The argument can be made. I mean, there is an argument that can be made that because the cops were being people, and I know people are going to get mad at this, but because the cops were being so nice is part of the reason that this ended up the way it did. Had they not listened to him, had they put him in the back of the car anyway, a lot of this could have been avoided, right? A lot of this shit could have been avoided. Did they ever disclose whether or not George Floyd returned his shopping carts? That is up for debate, Mr. Reloaded. I don't know. But, yeah, man, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I mean, a lot of the riots and stuff have died down, but policies are changing. Statues are going down all over an incident that really, in my opinion, shouldn't be what it was. It should have never got to that level. I think they should have just put him in the car. Look, I mean, hindsight, right? Hindsight's 20/20 as it is. Bigot says, couldn't they just hog tie it and roll onto the trailer? No. That you can't do that in Minneapolis. That is actually Kentucky arrest rules. If you get arrested in Kentucky, they will hog tie you and throw you into the back of the car, and they will brand you. So I mean, that's a state thing. It's a state rights thing, It says he had drugs on him. If he didn't return his carts, it would still be wrong because cart leaders deserve a swift death by sniper. He has to first get rid of it. Look at the foot. We did. We played the footage yesterday. We played the footage yesterday, and we actually went through the whole thing to see exactly what was going on. They could have put him in the car, but he was erratic. You could check the DLive chat over the known. Hold on, I checked the DLive chat. I will check the DLive chat. Yeah, no, he definitely was on drugs. I mean, there's not really a question here, you know. Better train cop would have let him OD and dumped him in the river. I don't know, man. I don't know. Now everyone knows I'm looking at the back of the bus. Hello, back of the bus. How are you? Hope you guys are doing well. No fighting. No fighting in the back of the bus. Let's see here. Ah, man. We're still dealing with the Floyd thing. You know, the amount of people, somebody brought up the amount of people that have died directly because of this incident, you know, and the David Dorn's another example and stuff like that. It's not, to me, so many things were handled so fucking wrong in that situation, and not just by the cops. So I don't know, man. 26 people. Yeah, there you go. The Chaz thing, I mean, we go down the list of the things that have happened. But, yeah. Hollywood Ryan Long will be on at 11. Mr. Hollywood Ryan Long looks like it'll be at 11 o'clock is when we'll have our friend Hollywood Ryan Long. Why isn't my Skype open? Let me go back here, check out my Skype. All right, there we go. Oh, my Skype was open. I guess my Skype was open. I'm never caring about another person killed by cops again. I mean, no, but see, I don't think that's good. I mean, I get the sentiment. I really do. I get the sentiment. But no, I mean, I do. I mean, if there's a bad cop, if a cop does some shitty stuff, I mean, and kill somebody, you probably should, right? I don't want to not care. And I understand. Look, I understand why you would think that way, and I understand why some people are soured, you know, to think this whole timeline started because someone shot a gorilla. No, but people should still care about that. I mean, you know, there's bad cops, and there's, you know, cops that rough people up and for no reason and do the wrong thing. Like there was a cop here in Florida that was planting evidence, you know, that was planting meth on people. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Talking about Harambe. Yes, Harambe. Come on, don't be racist, guys. You get it. You have Hollywood Ryan Long and Hollywood Mersh. How the fuck does that make you Royce? Because I'm not Hollywood, guys. I ain't a Hollywood guy. That ain't my thing. I drive a Honda. I live within my means. And I'm just happy to do my day wave show with my friends. I mean, that's pretty much to the level that I'm at. I try not to get involved in too much internet bullshit because I don't care. Everyone's a little bit racist. Look, everybody is racist. Absolutely. Black people are racist. White people are racist. Everybody. Black people are racist against other light-skinned black people. I mean, we see it. We see it every day. It's not. It's uncomfortable, I guess, to say it, but it's in all of us, right? Even if you don't admit it, even if you're like this huge social justice guy. I think we all kind of have it in us, right? I mean, I guess it's all in how you react to it and how you let it affect you, you know? So it come to Africa. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Africans are, are racist to American blacks. I mean, I've talked about that before. Cubans and Puerto Ricans, both Hispanic, right? We are, and we have a blood feud. I mean, that's just the way it is. And don't get me wrong, I try to get along with most people, but there is a kind of a long-standing snarkiness between them, mostly because they stole the Cuban flag.
Look at Dave.
If no one sees you return your cart, did it actually happen?
Damn,
Food
man.
for thought.
Damn, man. That's like a Buddhist haiku, dude. At this rate, Royce will be wider than his face by 2021. Maybe. What are we gonna do? What am I gonna get? Just for men. Touch of gray. I ain't gonna do that. Imagine when I dye my beard, I come back. I would get more shit if I did that than just letting myself go gray. Just let it go gray, man. What are you gonna do? Police brutality shouldn't be a race issue. It should be an American issue. Man, Lonely Chef, I've been saying that since the fucking beginning, because before the Floyd thing happened, we were talking about cops that were roughing people up and doing shitty things. We were talking about that a lot, and it should be. Cops should be better trained. I mean, and I'm not talking on the Floyd thing. I'm talking in general, you know? And I also understand the other side of it. Like, cops don't have to, in many places, not in all places, but in many places, cops have a thankless job, you know, depending on where you're at. I mean, south side of Chicago is not the same as being a cop in Boca Raton. You know, it's a different level of threat. It's a different level of risk, and I don't think, because of the Floyd thing, because it became a race thing, I think it's set back actual reform, because now a lot of people that I think would have been on the side, I mean, somebody was saying in the chat earlier, but I think a lot of people that would have been on the side of like, hey, man, there's bad cops, you know, there really is. They are now saying, oh, well, fuck them, you know, you're treating all the cops like shit, and you kind of lose people that would be on your side. Are there cops in the South Side? I mean, apparently there's some. They usually go investigate after somebody's dead, but there is. I mean, I've seen the video of it, that there definitely is cops in the South Side of Chicago, like Specialist of Need says. There definitely is. But man, again, I'm sorry I went on this rant. Just the stuff I was thinking about after the Floyd thing and all that stuff, and the Floyd video, that nobody really changed their mind. I enjoy small town cops who literally think they're fighting the right at Mogadishu. I always respect their authority. Yeah, exactly. Like, when you go to town where there's like fucking 500 people, and you got like 2 cops, what's really gonna go on there? I mean, what's really happening there? You know. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I think I'm a big proponent. I think you do need a police force for city to function, but I also think that treating cops that, like I said, are cops in Boca Raton the same as treating cops that are in fucking Cleveland is completely different, you know? I think the video was released now to prolong the disorder. I mean, I think the video was released by somebody in the police department is what it looks like to me. I will agree. I don't know why it took so long to release the footage. That to me is a little odd with the body cam footage. I don't know why it took so long. Kind of makes it kind of... I don't like getting conspiracy minded with a lot of stuff. I really don't, because I think once you do that, you go kind of too far off the cliff with stuff. But why not release the footage right away? It could have saved a lot of rioting, maybe some, maybe not. Maybe releasing would have done anything, but it should have been done, you know? Because it needs to be viewed by the court first. Well, that's a good point. I mean, you're right. Yeah, and it wasn't even released officially. It was leaked, which, again, My theory is it was somebody in the police department, but do I know? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. I will say that, to be as upfront as I could be with stuff, when I first saw the footage of the knee on the neck thing, I mean, I was like, the cop killed that guy, blah, 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 blah. And to the credit to probably some people that are in this chat right now, but to the credit of people that were saying stuff like, wait for their stuff to come out, wait for more footage to come out, wait for more footage to come out. I probably should have done, not probably, I should have done that. I should have done that because the video kind of changed my mind on a lot of things. Now, I never thought it was racism. I never thought that the cops were being racist, but it is something to say, to see, probably a lot of people jumped the gun, and I think I was one of them in a lot of ways. With the Floyd stuff, I definitely jumped the gun on it. The riots remembered by George Floyd, they had more to do with George Soros. Well, I understand, but they needed a jumping off point. I mean, I don't even know if I even disagree with you there, but they needed a jumping off point, right? So, I don't know. But, something else I wanted to bring up that I thought was just fucking mind-blowing to me. Let's see. Fucking mind-blowing to me. And I'm sure we'll cover it on RTC, but I wanted to cover it here too. This is something that I kind of wanted to touch on and talk about on my own in a little bit, because it's a lot. And I was just, when I read the article title, I was like, this is insanity. I can't believe this is happening, but well, I can, but that shouldn't say that. From the New York Times, it's an opinion piece. Let's scrap the presidential debates. They're becoming unrevealing quips contestants. So, a quip contest. So it's from Elizabeth Drew. She's like 88 years old. She used to write for the New Yorker. Had a lot to do with the fucking Nixon thing and all that. Nervous managers scheduled the 2020 presidential debates are shuffling logistics and locations to deal with the threat of coronavirus. But here's a better idea. Scrap them all together, and not for health reasons. The debates have never made sense as a test for presidential leadership. In fact, one could argue that they reward precisely the opposite of what we want in the president. When we're serious about the presidency, we want intelligent thoughtfulness, knowledge, empathy, and to be sure, likability. It also goes without saying. Yet the debates play an outsized role in the campaigns and weigh more heavily on the verdict than their true values deserve. Perhaps the most substantiative televised debate of all was the first one between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, which Nixon was considered to have won on substance on the radio, while the cooler, more appealing Kennedy won on television. Since these weren't true debates, the concept of winning on one was an odd encounter and was always amorphous. To be sure, many questions by panels and journalists were designed to stimulate the debate than to challenge one of the candidates. Over time, the debates came to resemble professional wrestling matches, and more substantive debates were widely panned in the press. Points were to snappy comebacks, one-liners, witty remarks, drew laughs from the audience, blah, 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 blah. I'm skipping ahead here because there's a lot of fluff. But what's the point of relevance of carefully prepared one-liner? It's spontaneous as can of sardines. It usually delivered from a memory chip in the mind, having been fashioned and rehearsed with aids. When is a president called upon to put down the inocular and be a member of the Congress or foreign leader? This, by the way, isn't written out of any concern that Donald Trump will prevail over Joe Biden in debates. This is exactly written out of that. Do not... They do this. They set this up because I know some aides and stuff have already told, because Biden technically doesn't have to debate. You're not required to debate. But Mr. Biden has done just fine in long strings of such contests. No, he hasn't. The point is that winning a debate, however assessed, should be irrelevant, as are the debates themselves. The better way to pay attention is to choose among the presidential candidates, to follow the long campaigns that so many complain about. The reason for such moaning has always been a mystery, because unless the campaign is taking place in your living room, you simply switch it off. The key words are pay attention to, because over the stretch of 2015 to 2016, it was impossible to see so remember, this isn't about how Biden doing bad against Trump. Next sentence. The key words are to pay attention to, because over the stretch of 2015, 2016, it wasn't impossible to see the implications of a Trump presidency. Not just the vulgarity and the ignorance and the insensitivity and extreme narcissism were apparent more than the year before the election day. Moreover, we didn't need the debates to tell us that Trump had chosen to be the P.T. Barnum of American politics. For him, it was and still is about the show and about distracting the public from reality. It was obvious that Trump had no real affinity for the working class people whose voters he was chasing. Nothing in his life suggested his heart was with struggling workers and farmers. It wasn't impossible to know that he wasn't the skilled businessman. So anyway. Now this is so fucking great. Now we'll just scrape the debate. It's not because we're afraid of Biden not being able to talk, guys. It's for this other reason. Come on, man. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Unbelievable that now they don't want to have the debates. They don't want to have the debates because I think they know that Biden can't hang. I mean, from everything we've seen, it doesn't seem like he can. It's not because Biden will do worse than Trump. It's because Trump will do better than Biden. In a debate fashion, of course he will. But of course he will. Of course Biden will do better. Biden will do worse, than Trump. There's no doubt about it. Trump's going to do better. There's not even a doubt. And even people that don't like, the fucking people that hate Trump, they know the truth. They know that they can't. I mean, come on, man. There's no way anybody believes it. There's just no way. And to go back and to pretend like now you could just, and this, by the way, this isn't whether you like Trump or don't like Trump. This isn't even any of that. It's just weird to me, that it's like what Patreon did. You're changing the rules in the middle of it. So now debates don't matter. Nobody cared about debates until Trump won. I mean, that's the fact. Everyone loved the debates. The news networks love debates, everything. Well, let's not just have one. Let's not just have one. Come on, man. What the fuck? Biden is a politician as Maggie Carp is to Pokemon. Good Pokemon reference, man. Nice. Very nice. Let's see here.
Whoa! Look at that.
If it makes you feel better, us Mexicans don't like Puerto Ricans either, also Argentinians.
I mean,
fucking annoying.
That's how it is. That's just how it is.
Whoa! Look at that.
Is a muffin a cupcake with fruit, or is a cupcake a muffin with icing?
No, I think a muffin has a different consistency than a cupcake, right? It's different. There's quite a bit. Well, how do you say it? Magikarp? I don't know. How do you say it? Okay, so now maybe I'm saying it wrong. I've never had to say it. Let's see.
Magic crap. No. Dumbass.
Well, that's not real.
How to pronounce Magikarp.
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 Magikarp. There you go. They're both breakfast cakes. Are you? I'm not going to get into the pancake muffin debate today. I'm not. I really don't want to have to get into that. Can this be a regular segment? Oh, where I pronounce different Pokemon names? I guess we could try. Magikarp. 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 There we go. Look, I'm getting it. I'm figuring it out. Look, man, I understand the. I'll be honest with you. I understand the criticism. I do pronounce a lot of words wrong. I get that. It's fine. You can call me out on it. I mean, I want to get better, but I do pronounce a lot of words wrong. I do, and I get shit on appropriately for it. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? No, I'm not gonna sit here and just pronounce Pokemon names until Ryan Long comes on. I ain't gonna do it. English is your second language. It actually is. I don't know if you're joking, but Spanish was the first language I learned as a kid because my mom and dad were working, so my grandparents basically took care of me after school when I was little. So yeah, it was. I mean, very close to each other. It was Spanish and then English. It wasn't like, I don't know, maybe I learned them at the same time. Learn English or go back to where you came from. Miami? I was born in Miami. I guess I could go back to Miami. I mean, I don't know if that's what you're asking me to do. Is Miami America, though? I don't know. Probably not. You may be right, folks. You may be right. Miami is not America, and I'm a big, stupid idiot. So, guys, I do my best. And the fact that you're shaming me for coming to this country and working hard is kind of fucked up. And I, for one, don't like it. I would never donate, especially to a Jew or a Mexican, but because I got my TPE love doll and got intimate with it, I'm satisfied. Here's $5. Thank you. Much appreciated, I guess. Good luck with your love doll, I guess. Let's see here. Go back to Miami. Bienvenido, ami. Bouncing in the club where the heat is on all night on the tee to the break of dawn. Let's check out a quick Thomas Murphy, and then we'll, here in a little bit, get Ryan on.
Hi, it's me, Thomas, and a vacation went well, and Thomas watched the show Bar Rescue with John Taffer. He does yell a lot, that show. Bar Rescue, the guy, John Taffer. You've seen it before, right? Comment down below. He does yell a lot. And it's also Tony Bennett's birthday. He is 94 years old, but
Happy
there's
birthday,
no
Tony Bennett.
radio stations that will play him no more. Maybe try Pandora. But I think my mom does not want to hear him because
people still use
it will
Pandora?
put her to sleep while driving, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, either Pandora, yes. Mm-hmm. And is there anything else I want? Oh, yeah, I'm back to work today. Mm-hmm. And also, oh yeah, I'm gonna check my calendar here. October. So either 16th or 17th of October, I'm gonna close the windows. It's gonna start cooling down in late October. And that's all I have to say. So I guess we're going. So remember, Bar Rescue, John Taffer, he yells a lot. Mm-hmm. So I guess we're going, so I gotta go. So, bye. Bye.
Bye, Thomas. Thank you, Mr. Thomas Murphy. Man, he's just the best. He really is. And this, okay, so I wanted to play this too. I thought, I really kind of dig the deepfake stuff and how good they're getting. You guys watched Rogue One, and Moff Tarkin, the guy who was in the original Star Wars movies. They had him in Rogue One, but they used, and it was very noticeable, at least to me. I mean, I don't know if anybody else noticed it when they first watched it, but it was very noticeable that it was a CGI, what they did. They CGI'd him into the movie and got somebody else to do his voice. Well, let me just show you something, and I thought this was pretty cool. Somebody who does deep fakes, just some YouTuber, was able to do it better than the fucking billions of dollars in Disney had. So check this video out. I thought this was really cool. I really dig the deep fake stuff.
Sir, Scarif Base, they're reporting.
So this is the original.
I want to speak with Director Krennic.
He's there, sir. On Scarif.
The original
This is
plans
the
for the
original.
station are kept there, are they not?
They are.
Prepare for the jump to hyperspace and inform Lord Vader. You have made time
So the left is from the movie. The right is fixed with a deep fake.
an ally of the rebellion. Failure will find you explaining why to a far less patient audience. I believe I owe you an apology, Director.
This one here is the one where you could really see how much better the deepfake was, because I mean it is like leaps and bounds better, in my opinion.
Krennic, your work exceeds all expectations. I will tell him that his patience with your misadventures has been rewarded with a
I'll post the
weapon
link here in a
that will bring
second.
a swift end.
Again, this is some dude on YouTube with his deepfake versus, on the left, Disney's billions of dollars.
To the rebellion.
And that was. We stand here amidst my achievement!
You think this pilot acted alone?
Sir, Scarif Base, they're reporting a rebel incursion.
I want to speak with Director Krennic.
He's there, sir. On Scarif.
The original plans for this station are kept there, are they not?
They are.
Prepare for the jump to hyperspace and inform Lord Vader.
Pretty crazy, right? Pretty fucking crazy. Here, I'll give you the link. No, I mean, look, it's obviously still creepy, but it's pretty fucking impressive here. The deep fake is definitely better. I mean, without a doubt, the deep fake is definitely better. Disney ruined Star Wars. I don't even want. I've been rewatching some Red Letter Media stuff on the Star Wars stuff, and I mean, Red Letter Media is huge. One of bigger YouTube channels, but their shit is fucking great, man. And like all internet things, it all began with porn. I mean, that is true. It really is. They sunk that CGI like a space mountain boat. Very funny. All right, let me let's see where my buddy Ryan Long is. Let's call Mr. Ryan Long here. Now hopefully he picks up. Mr. Long. Paging Mr. Long. Let's try again. I think I'm actually going to get big timed. I really am. I think I'm getting big timed. I think I just... Oh, man. By the way, if this is a bit, good for him because it's very funny. Getting big time by Ryan Long. Let me try. Let me see it. Fucking. If it's a bit, it's a very funny bit. Oh, fuck, man. He says he's there. He just told me he's there. He said, actually, 1 sec. Oh! Oh, Axl Rose comes on whenever the fuck he wants. Hey, what's up, bud?
Yo, hold on. I'm going to fix my webcam here.
What's up there, Axl? I guess you come on whenever you want. Fucking Axl Rose. What's up, bud?
Dude, I'm fucking dead right now too. I went out with like Chris from Brooklyn just to have like a beer in the park, and then I just ended up getting like trashed and watching movies and stayed up to like probably 6. So we're just living the life over here,
dude. Hollywood, Ryan Long.
Oh yeah, I'm getting it's doubled the amount of people that are sending me their sketch ideas now. So everyone's got one for me.
Okay, well, I have a sketch idea for you because I'm going to pitch you one, okay?
Pwn and libs. There's a bunch of libs, and we have shirts to say pwn.
Let me tell you. I'm going to get into that. I do want to get into that. That's something that I was thinking about. But real quick, here's my sketch idea. Somebody pointed out earlier that the reason we're in this timeline is because somebody shot Harambe. I think we all agree with that. I think there's just no dispute. That's why we're here.
Yeah, that was the linchpin.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say 3 words so I don't get in trouble, but just 3 words: deepfake Harambe, George Floyd.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look at Hollywood, Ryan Long. I don't know, nothing at all.
Listen, Mr. Person of Color, if you want to make your jokes, have fun. Do what you want.
I get it. Let me tell you something.
That's my favorite is when people that like aren't white are kind of like doing race stuff, and they think that like you're being like a black guy will be like, "Oh, pussy," and you're like, "You don't get white. Like you can do this a little easier than me."
Of course. No, look, I get it, and you're very, very white. But it's somebody sent me look at you on Michael Knowles' show yesterday. Look at you, or the other day.
Yeah, I actually didn't know who he was. I just was kind of like picking the biggest ones. I know the network, like I know Daily Wire, so I knew it was part of that thing. But I didn't know. Did you see? I don't know if you saw Ben Shapiro, the one where I made fun of him. He retweeted it.
Actually, folks, let me just correct you here. I actually got married when I was 23.
Or something like that, which I thought was very funny. But
to be fair,
to his credit, he took it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to deal with it. That was there was a few people that were like handling it okay. Like AOC when Chappelle like trashed her and then she came out and she was like, everyone was like, "Oh, what is she gonna say?" And she's like, "Nothing. I think comedians should be able to make fun of us." And everyone was like, I was kind of waiting to get mad at you.
Yeah, no, I know. Now that's the thing that I guarantee that I wanted to talk about because
AOC?
Well, no, not AOC. Well, we could talk about her. She has nice tits. But you're saying people have said you sketch ideas. I know how this happens. I've seen it happen. It's happened. It happens to us. It happens to everybody. People start pigeonholing you. They start pigeonholing you into the owning the libs guy, which I know you're not, by the way. I mean, that's not, you're just a comedy dude, just like joking with stuff. I saw you tweeted the other day, like, I just, why do we make fun of the left more? Because they're the ones shitting on us and not letting us do our thing.
Yeah, isn't that true?
It is. It's a fact. I agree with you.
Yeah,
but
you guys are the ones being the most psychopath. No one fucking on these right-wing circles is telling me, what I can say, what I can't. They would love to, I'm sure, if they had more power.
But they don't.
Yeah, it's kind of everyone wants you to be on the right, like no matter what you are. And even, and I was thinking about this yesterday about like the libertarian, like, because, then everyone goes, oh, well, you're a libertarian then, and you're like, yeah, I guess I have some like leanings like that. But when you think of it, I'm like, there's like 5 things I could pick. Like every one of the clubs that you pick, there's things that I don't agree with. And
of
things.
course.
So there's just, I think just like any reasonable human being, right? But they don't want, as soon as you do anything, the left goes, you're on the right. This guy's on the right. And then the right's like, he's on the right. Everyone like wants you to be on the right.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's fucking, it's exhausting.
It's very exhausting. But even those right-wing guys, like you're talking about like Michael Knowles or whatever, a lot of those guys, some of these people probably live the life of, being like a conservative pundit where they're like, no, very like, you should be in church. And they, whereas like Michael Knowles, you talk to the guy after, like, he's like a bro. Like those guys don't give that much of a shit.
No, I mean, I trust me, I get that. And a lot of people like that, like, they talk about like the Fox News people, the Fox News people are the same way where, they fucking, do their whole conservative and this and that. And then when they go out, they fucking go get hammered at the bar.
They get hammered with Ann Coulter.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Dude, they're like, it's just like, because I didn't, in Canada, it's probably, there isn't these like big right-wing jobs, but like the people that work at Fox, that's like a job for a lot of these people. They're like, I'll go into broadcasting. Oh, okay, because I'm this, so maybe I fit better here. Before you know it, they just want to be like on TV or whatever. Before they know it, they're like the Roadrunner, punching in like, all right, go to my job. Like his wife goes to his job as a nurse. He goes to his job, boning libs, like comes home, like eats dinner. Like it's just a job for them. They don't even write the stuff, so their writers like give them the lib poning points.
Exactly, and like that's what happens. Like it's well, when you did that now 1.3 million last time I checked video
on YouTube, right? So that's when that's why it kind of matters. Like the Twitter ones, like those ones that had way more views on Twitter, but it like doesn't like kind of matter,
Yeah.
Feels like it anyway.
No, you're right. So, but like so the 1.4 million video, I did see you getting a lot of love and a lot of retweets from people from right wing people. Did you get any of that from left wing people? Did they get the joke?
Yeah, well, there's so many left wing people that like are just normal people.
Yeah.
So yes, tons of people. Dude, there's a whole like section of the left wing that like the dirtbag left or whatever.
Dirtbag left, yeah.
Yeah, they fucking hate that shit. You know what I mean, dude? That extreme left isn't that much. It's obviously the left. It's just entertainment. It's entertainment. The media, anyone that's in a band, like all those people. That's their like default, political belief that they have to yell because they think that that's going to help their career or whatever. But like for the most part, there's lots of people that are like, yeah, I think there should be like healthcare and all that stuff, but I don't think you should be in trouble for saying retard.
No, of course not.
I think you're kind of the same way with me. I see even you and Merce have that thing where it's like, I'm also probably more naturally contrarian or whatever, like, than I give a shit about any of my actual leanings. You know what I mean? Where it's almost like when I'm doing stand up, if I'm in a room and I was kind of like with all these like liberal New York people, like my instinct is to like trash that hard. But if I went to, some convention wherever in the South or whatever, and they love that stuff too much and they're like, yeah, like more of that. And like my instinct is to do the opposite. So it's kind of, comedy wise, like it's a very, like, I guess what you would call pandering. Like I have just such like reservations of doing anything that starts to feel like pandering. That's because a lot of times, and that's why they're so wrong about that. I'm sure you guys get this too, but people they're like, oh, like this guy's going to be like a sellout, or he's, whatchamacallit, like bending the knee to the man. And you're like, a lot of times, if you do something that's against a thing, against like the, whatever, more pushing what the woke thing would be or whatever, not that I would do that, but it's like, it would be more pandering to kind of be like, lean just all into the right wing thing, just give you guys exactly what you want, just like, raw meat for your base. Like that's, to me, is like way more of like selling out and pandering.
Yes, Boogie Bumper is going to point in the chat. Goes, you've made it when people start demanding you pledge allegiance to their party. It's because that's what it is. And we were talking about earlier, weirdly about Pokemon, but it's people want to collect you for their Pokemon team, where it's like, well, we got this guy. Well, yeah, but we got that guy. Well, we got James Woods. Well, we got blah, blah, blah. And it's the same thing, you're right. Like when we went over to Vegas to the Deplorabapalooza thing, we were just fucking making fun of them and joking around and taking the piss out of them because it was just like, it was fun. It's weird. Like, I know people get mad at this, but I mean, I get just annoyed that people that say fucking magatard as people who say, libtard. It's like, okay, enough. Like, who cares? Because I was thinking about like, man, not even that long ago, this, like fucking a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, like it didn't matter if your fucking neighbor voted for Obama or if you voted for Romney. You were just like, yeah, that's cool. Let's go get a beer. Let's go fucking watch the game or let's go whatever. Nobody gave a shit.
I have friends that are literal communists.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
If they're funny, are they funny? That's to me, that's the most important. Like even my normal friends that aren't in entertainment, it's like I don't have very many friends that aren't really funny. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I have friends. I have complete lefty Bernie bro friends in real life. I do. Yeah. I go to dinner with them. I fucking hang out. I mean, if you can hang out and you're cool, I really don't. And I mean, I also have friends the other way that are complete just right wing, crazy right wingers.
What's a better word is when we're talking about labeling. Mm-hmm. I think the better word is like say you guys like, but when we say people is based. That so actually based. Kind of is a good one. You're like, this guy's kind of based. Like you kind of know what he means. It doesn't have to necessarily mean he's a Republican.
But no, it doesn't. Kind of the base thing doesn't mean. I think the base thing doesn't mean you're a Republican anymore. I don't. I honestly think
not full of shit, like all that stuff.
Yeah, I think base is just like if somebody were to go like, oh, that guy's a fucking retard. You're like, oh, base, bro. That guy's bro. That guy's fucking based.
Based. Yeah, I love that. How because they love a based black guy. You were saying,
dude, they love it. But based black guys are like, dude, I'm telling you, they're like. You open a pack of baseball cards and you get like a fucking Nolan Ryan. You're like, oh shit, I got a base black guy in the group. And it's like, all right, but who cares? Like, who gives a shit? And look,
there must be a lot of people on the right, whatever, too, that are kind of like, yo, fucking left wing sucks. Like, it's the worst. These guys are out of control right now. And then they go over to the right wing. And then they're like, then all their heroes are like, yeah, and don't forget to go to church and like make sure you know sex before marriage. And you're like, wait a second.
I didn't sign up for that either. You're right, and it's
don't play video games and get your. And you're just like, shut up. I was like, can we get back to Pwn and Lips?
Yeah, it's that whole and I say this
college kid era was like that.
Yeah,
because. That was the era where everyone switched over, I think, in the Pwn college kid era, like university professors have been doing this for like 30 years, Pwn communist kids.
Yeah, no, they have, but it's funny because like I even look, to be fair, because I could be honest, like, but the earlier ROTC stuff was a lot about pwning libs. I mean, it was, and I'll be honest,
but it's a different era, dude.
It was, but I look back at some of the stuff we did, and I'm like, what were we doing? Like,
but you can't look at it in a different context. That's the problem. Like, you know what I mean? Anything you look at, like everything's a reaction to something else. So at that moment, it was a different thing. So if you look back at it now, it's a completely different thing. Comedy is like that too. Whenever you look at like Seinfeld now, and you're like, what the fuck is this? But at the time, it was like a super, it was the hipster comedy of the time, and it was kind of cool.
To be fair, by the way, I know this isn't me trying to be, now it's hipster to say this. I never was a fan of Seinfeld. That was never my show. It's probably
the show.
Yeah, I was never. I know. People always say that. I love The Simpsons.
I think I've heard you say that.
Yeah, I love The Simpsons. But I was
South Park's the GOAT as far as I'm concerned.
South Park is the best. South Park, most shows like The Simpsons is a good example. Like, they start out really good and then they just became fucking garbage. South Park is one of those that honestly it wasn't that great when it first came out, and as it went along, it got better and better. It's a show that actually got better. When they became more topical, like when they started, I don't know if you've seen that documentary, like 6 Days to Air.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The fact that what they pull off in 6 days is just, and South Park's another great example. South Park's another one where like they've been called George Bush right-wing supporters depending on the show that they do, or they've been called lefty-leaning, like depending on what the show that they do.
Yeah.
It's and I think that's probably why I've always liked that kind of thing. And I agree with you, man. Funny's funny. That's
because
what
you're
matters.
doing comedy though. I get, you know, and this is a thing. People go, you have to pick a side or whatever. But like, I get why fucking if you want to be a Ben Shapiro, you do have to pick a side. But like, you guys at the end of the day are doing a comedy show.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. You don't need to like always, you know, you want to be able to make fun of everyone and kind of poke fun at everything without it feeling. You know, it's like if you want to be if you want to be like a announcer or like commentator in the NHL, you can't really support a team. So it depends on what you want to do.
Well, fucking tell that to fucking Joe Buck, Yankees fanboy. But nah, but no, I hear what you're saying. But you're right, and you know, I think a lot of the times people, and we said it before, like people kind of try to make, you know, heroes out of you. And the problem is like, you're right. There's a problem with picking sides, right? When you're like a Ben Shapiro, like you have your talking points, you know, you have to hit on this point.
You just kind of funnel. Yeah. You have like a very specific worldview, and then you just funnel every current event through that.
Yeah. Like sometimes, you know, before the,
it's like a factory almost the way that some of these people do it.
Yeah. It's like the real Slim Shady, except it's like, you know, just conservatives.
Yeah.
You're right though. It is just like it's the next thing, and everybody has to be in line. And I think that's where, you know, I found myself like, for example, before the George Floyd stuff happened, we were watching some videos of cops that were doing shitty things, you know, like cops that were planting drugs on people and you know, cops that
trying to get them scrubbed for the internet, Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah, and all like that. And then I'm like, well, these cops are pieces of shit. And then, you know, then it's like, what do you mean all cops are here? And not everybody, because I think most people who listen to our show get us.
Yeah, your natural inclination is to go against it now.
Right. And it's like, well, I don't know, man. I mean, everybody has. And I think, you know, I don't know if this is something that I've learned doing this. You can't even like change your opinion. Like,
yeah, I know.
Like you can't like you can't go like, you know, oh, you know, I feel this way now. And it's like, well, you know, a year ago you felt. I go, yeah, I know. A year ago I
changed my mind.
I changed my mind. I thought I was thinking differently back then.
Bill Burr, I heard Bill Burr say that on his podcast where he was like, he was kind of like he was reading he always reads the fan mail, but like he reads like he reads more of the ones that trash him, which is like kind of cool.
Yeah,
and they were like. They called him, the guy was like, you're a fucking hypocrite. He's like, I have been a hypocrite since I started this show. So nothing changes. Like he goes, there is nothing I've said on this show that I haven't said the exact opposite of also.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, especially, you know, when in 2016, when we were like, you know, fucking Trump, you know, fucking business guy, fucking whore is going to be president. Awesome. And now you're like, yeah, you know, I don't think he's doing a great job. And it's like, he's not doing a what? And you're like, what? I can't like say that, like, and you know, that's the thing. Like, I know the term political comedy is when you think of political comedy.
Dennis Miller's?
Yeah, Bill Maher's.
Yeah, Bill Maher, Dennis Miller,
and it's
like that. My buddy Patrick was doing the funniest impression of Bill Maher. I guess the idea with, or I'm sorry, Dennis Miller. Like, I guess the idea is all of his jokes are just these like obscure references. Like, I guess that was the time that the Athenian Empire was like,
yes,
like it's all that kind of stuff.
It really is. That's Dennis Miller stuff is all like, that reminds me of the Bay of Pigs. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
No one knows what he's talking about.
No, it doesn't, bro. Shut the fuck up.
So if you're doing you know, what, like those guys that are like that, I don't even know. I mean, whatever. There's lots of them that do that where they just kind of funnel it through the same thing. And that's fine because it's almost like comfort porn for people. You know what I mean? It's like more so it's just like putting on a blanket of your opinions that you already have, and fine. But like there's no surprise, and that doesn't work for comedy, unfortunately. Like if you kind of watch someone and you know exactly what they're going to say and it's a comedy show, that doesn't work very good.
Well, look, you know, this is, you know, it's because a perfect example of what you just said. This is a perfect example of what you just said. when Dave Chappelle, not the George Floyd special he did, but the special he did before that, when they were ripping him apart, when he was making fun of trannies, when he was, fucking talking about how he like
Chappelle.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Bae, Chappelle's the best. Chappelle's so fucking big." And by the way, I thought that special was fantastic. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought it was just really funny. But then
Chappelle does kind of say like edgy boy opinions from 3 years ago, though.
Oh no, that's true, but that's only because he's catching up from being out of the limelight for 10 years, so he has a backlog of jokes.
Okay.
He has a notebook. He has a notebook of jokes. But whatever. But my point is, whether you thought it was funny or not, but it's not the point. Everyone's like, "Bae, Chappelle," and then Chappelle comes out and he does that whole special on George Floyd, like that whatever 8-minute, whatever that name of that fucking special was.
23 something.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, whatever.
I don't know, 23 Skidoo, and then everyone's like, the same people that were fucking sucking his dick are like, "What a fucking cock! What a cock Chappelle is! You fucking cock!" And you're like, well, no, the guy's just talking about what he wants to talk about, and you're not going to agree with some of the shit he says. Like, dude, there's some comics that say shit that I fucking don't agree with them politically, but if it fucking makes me laugh, I don't care.
Yeah, it's not always like snowflake. I find that a lot of times with when like, let's say edgelord people.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say almost like I don't know if you're probably in your 30s like me too, right?
Yeah.
But when you see someone that's kind of like 25 and they're just kind of getting it, maybe they don't have the like chops to be, kind of doing the handling talking about BLM on stage, you know what I mean? But I see with like a lot of times they'll piss off like the black dudes in the comedy community that like are, those guys aren't fucking pussies. They're like, a lot of them are cool guys.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "These guys are fucking social justice warriors trying to cancel me." It's like, no, they just hate you. Like they want to fight you.
Yeah.
It's not like they're not, these guys aren't like, "Oh, like, this is hurting my feelings." They're like, "Yo, this guy's a fucking loser. Like, let's kill him."
But it's funny because we were talking about that at ROTC the other day, and it's the equivalent of like, you're right. You don't have your chops yet. People don't know. It's like everyone has always had a friend like that in the group, like where you're joking around and like, I've like, for example, like your black friend shows up late and goes, "Oh man, of course Tyrone's late, huh? Am I right?" And he's like, "You got me, you got me." But then there's the one dude in the group that's like, "Yeah, he's a real beep," and you're like, "Whoa, bro, what the fuck?" Dude? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it's like an odd touch of autism, kind of, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, we're fucking with them. We're just fucking. Like, I get made fun of all the time for being Cuban. I mean, I get fucking get called Mexican, and fucking somebody the other day.
Forbid.
Yeah, somebody the other day said Cubans are just Mexicans with a raft, and that's fine. It's true, and that's fine. It doesn't bother me. But it's
people, none of those things were that bad. You're like, listen, I get it as much as the next guy. They tell me I don't have spices. It cuts deep.
Yeah, well, you fucking. I don't want to. Again, I don't think people. I think that's part of the bigger issue is like every group I've always been in has honestly all my friends have always looked like a fucking the Burger King's Kids Club. Like, I mean, it's been a black guy, a nerd, a lesbian, a guy in a wheelchair for some reason, another nerd, and then another nerd, and then another nerd. But we've always busted each other's balls, and it's never been a problem. But now it's like the slightest inference of anything is like, "You fucking racist." I'm like, I'm a what now?
It hasn't been like that with my friends. I mean, again, it's like one of those things they tell you to do that, but then when you're actually like, when I'm around any of my friends, it's not like that.
No, you're right. You're
my
right.
friends don't
You're
give a
right.
shit.
When you're just hanging out with people and you're being yourself, it's so completely different. Like
that's what I was saying even with these videos I do. And people have no idea how much fucking like black dudes and like brown dudes or whatever send me are fans. Like fucking Hindu dudes fucking love the shit I'm doing. And they're like, "Oh, we're looking out for them." And they're like, they hate you. They hate you. They hate this stuff. They think that they're like, helping these people a lot of times, but they hate that shit.
Yeah, I think I don't know, but it's weird too because there's been a lot of influx of more comedy online now too because of like the COVID stuff and no being able to do stand up and all that stuff, which I think. Yeah. I mean, it's good and it's bad. I mean, I think it's good because it kind of like the video.
Most people say they're going to do something and don't.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're right, but I mean, your videos, the videos that you've been, and by the way, Danny, everyone's like Ryan Long. I'm like, oh, Danny's in there too, man. Give Danny some fucking love.
Yeah, no, I think it's because I do know what you mean, and Danny's like doesn't give a shit either way. He's super chill about it, but I guess there is a difference with like it was like my video I made, so that's why. Like if like when we in that I don't know if you ever saw that like who fucked the peanut butter thing or like that was his video that he made.
Right.
So it's kind of like that's Danny's thing. Like I guess whoever like wrote it and edited it and all that that's there.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, that's a good point. But so I gotta ask. So besides the Michael Knowles thing, what's the biggest show that's asked you to go on?
I don't really know that one was so big.
I mean,
but I mean,
in the scheme of things, it's a better question. Joe Rogan, when?
Yeah, I mean, I can't even get the retweet from JRE.
Yeah, no, yeah, Pink Trip does. Pink Trip gets the love from him, but
Joe Rogan feels like he's such a contrarian dude too.
Yeah,
that like he might have almost had this one shoved down his face too much where he doesn't want it. Because I know like 4 or 5 people like that James Lindsay dude and some other people like in comedy were like, oh, I sent your video to Rogan and he like really liked it or whatever. But like the fact that 5 people were like, oh, you got, and people tagging him, you got to have this guy on might have made a guy like him be like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a really good point, man. The Rogan is kind of like that where it's like, it's my show and I have whoever I could have Ryan Long on, or I could have a marathon runner that no one's ever heard of that ran 400 miles wearing a scuba mask or something weird. And you're like, I guess I'm going to do that instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knows with like a comic, like bringing them on makes such a difference. So it's like, I feel like it's a lot of like, that would get annoying. Like anytime you bring someone on your podcast, you know, you're like changing their life. Like that whole thing is like, there's a lot of, as opposed to just a guy, just bring him in and you play some pool and you don't have this like energy of like, this guy's so excited about this.
No, he's the new Johnny Carson, you know, like back in the day when
he's the only one.
Yeah, he is. He is. Jimmy Fallon's not going to make a comics fucking career. I mean, he's not.
Oh, dude, people do like 9 late night appearances and no one like knows who they are.
Yeah. You go on Rogan, everybody knows who you are.
Is there anyone else? I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you're in like a certain circle, there might be a guy. You know what I mean? I don't know.
But even still, but mainstream wise, Rogan is the guy. I mean, you go on there. He's the Carson. Like when Carson used to call you over to if he liked your set and he called you over to sit down and talk, like that's it. You were made. You know, everyone that he ever called over made it in comedy. Everybody. But
yeah, I literally can't think of anyone else.
Yeah.
Where like everyone, if you go on Rogan, like the next day you're like selling out your at least clubs. Where, but I can't think of one other person that like I would get a call to go on right now that I think it would make like really more of a dent than like, you know, maybe 1,000 followers. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, I mean,
if you go on fucking Fallon, you'll get 3 new Twitter followers if you're lucky.
Yeah, I know you will. And if you go on Fallon, you'll also get called the fucking libtard.
You know what's so fun about Fallon specifically? Because when there was a guys like that I used to kind of fucking hate. Like it just represented to me like the vanilla sort of industry thing, even though I'm sure he's like the nicest guy ever or whatever. But like in my mind, that kind of, but then some of these other guys that just became so like part of the resistance. Now I'm almost like watching Fallon, like, yeah, I'll watch some bobbing for apples before I want to see that.
Yeah, because at least it's normal. I mean, even, you know, Fallon was the one that had Trump on and tussled his hair, and then he got all this fucking shit for like, well, you're being nice to Trump, and it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Why aren't you punching him in the face?
Yeah, Fallon is always.
Why aren't you punching the president?
Exactly, you should have killed him. That was your shot. I'm like, whoa, bro, relax, dude. What are you doing?
Why aren't you spitting on the president right now? Yeah. Oh my God, you're the worst.
And by the way, all the stories about Fallon is off air. The guy drinks and he parties, and he's a fucking fun dude to hang out with. Like,
yeah, they say he's the man.
They from people that I know that know him.
Yeah.
He's a dude that likes to party. Like that
kicks ass.
Yeah, which is probably Fallon off air would be one of those fun fucking guys to hang with, because the stories I've heard is like this guy fucking, you know, drinks.
He's a hound.
And let's just. Yeah, just say he parties. How about that? He likes to party. That's all I'll say. He loves.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
He likes to party and hang.
That's the context thing we were talking about before, because, you know, in a different context, you watch that and you're like, well, this is just, you know, this is like the most mainstream thing or whatever. And then now yeah, you see like every single show, everything is like telling you why you're bad, why Trump's bad. Like that's just lecturing you. And then Jimmy Fallon brings a celebrity on and they play, Boggle.
Yeah, or that totally
so bad.
or that totally not planned before impression thing that they do.
Yeah, there's no way.
It's so funny. Those are the best one was the one with Seth MacFarlane. But yeah, man, you're right with the Fallon stuff because you tune into Fallon and it's like, oh, you can you believe this? It reminds you of old monologues. Like, can you believe this guy got stuck in a sewer? Oh, can you play a wacky noise? Where then you tune into Stephen Colbert and it's like, the president must be stopped at all costs. Is there a joke here, Stephen? Is there going to be a joke at some point? Can we please have? I don't know. And the thing is, with Stephen Colbert, I used to like Stephen Colbert when he on his Comedy Central show. I thought him taking the piss out of the Bill O'Reillys and stuff like that was hilarious.
That was good comedy, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of your political beliefs, like, or even if you liked it, like, it was objectively like funny.
Yeah. And now it's and all the stuff that they did, and I liked a lot was Conan, and they fucked him over,
Isn't he still doing?
Yeah,
he's one of those guys like, oh, you're still doing that, huh?
The Conan thing is so sad to me.
I thought he has a podcast now.
Well, oh my God, the Conan thing was one of the saddest things to me.
Conan's cool, dude. I listened to him on like a 2-hour podcast, like where they kind of like asked him all the real questions and stuff or whatever. Yeah. So you kind of like hear his whole philosophy on everything in 2 hours. And it was like, no, Conan's pretty cool and like smart dude and stuff.
I love Conan. Conan was probably my favorite late night host. Like,
yeah, he was probably the best one
of all time. But the Conan thing,
didn't you guys like the guy who had the puppets? Wasn't that one you liked?
The guy who had the Otto and George?
No, not the puppets, but like he's British or something. He was like pretty late night. He had all these like dolls.
Craig Ferguson.
Yeah, no, didn't you say you liked him?
He was awesome.
Yeah.
His show, I mean, if you've ever watched it, like his show, and you know why I liked it? Because it was so fucking different. Like it was this weird.
Yeah, he was doing a completely different thing.
It was like when you watch a show, it was like you were doing a fucking acid trip. Like it was completely just a different weird show. But the Conan thing is the thing to me that's like blows my mind because like he was the heir apparent to the Tonight Show and they gave him like 3 weeks and it's like your ratings didn't go up in 3 weeks and they got rid of him. And look, I don't blame him. He took the job at TBS because TBS offered him like $40 million, like something ridiculous. So he took the job and from on my understanding, he paid for all his crew to move. He paid for all the moving expenses out of his own money. Like he did all of that and he was good. But then he moved to TBS and. It never was the same. I mean, I like Conan before he did the show. Conan was one of the writers on the early Simpsons stuff, like some of the funniest Simpsons episodes.
Yeah, he wrote Monorail.
The Monorail episode, exactly.
Yeah.
His bits were funny. And Conan is somebody that never got really political. Like, he was never, like, political dude. It was, the year 2000 skits and shit like that.
No, he would let other people come on and say crazy things and then act like he was kind of like, oh, come on, you can't say that. That was his shtick.
Yeah. Principled Uncertainty says, I've watched lefties laugh at Ryan through their rage. Of course. Isn't that great? That's the best compliment.
This laugh. Ha ha ha
ha. Super fun.
Hey, have you seen on the chat groups, someone sent like a couple of your fans that like watch my stuff now, sent me like screenshots of like Reddit. There's a lot of discourse of people being like our feud of me and Mersh being like, oh, this and that. And they would go, there's all this stuff like one of the last time on the thing you could tell Ryan doesn't even like want to be on their show anymore. Like, yo,
oh yeah,
having a Reddit is just so your fans can like hate you.
Yeah,
like, I'm like, I was gonna start when I'm like, it's just a place for people to congregate and like hate you.
Yeah, people really thought they really believe that you and
dude, they go, I would go, what are you talking about? Like these, like what the fuck are you talking about?
People really thought that you were beefing. That you guys were beefing. Yeah. That Mersh was serious when he said he made you, and it's like, what?
Yeah. I thought that was so funny. There was like people sent me like 3 different things, and there's like these whole long threads or whatever. Or maybe not whole long threads, but there was a few different ones of people like legitimately being like discussing like the fact that you and Mersh hate each other. I hate both of you. Like the whole thing is so funny.
Yeah. It's By the
I
way,
think with the Reddit, you get about if once things are going good, you probably get like 3 months where they talk about how great you are, and then you get 10 years of them where they talk about how you used to be good in those 3 months.
yeah, and look, you're gonna get that too, man. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. The next time you do another video where you're not owning the libs enough,
yeah,
it'll be the same thing. What a cock, you fucking cock. Why are you cocking cock? And you're like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it all comes with it, right? Like it all comes with it. People aren't gonna.
There is a perfect amount of owning the libs. You don't want to go.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want it to be your whole shtick. You know.
Yeah, I actually do fucking stress out about that a lot. Not stress, but I want to make the best thing. But it's like I actually do think a lot of when I made a video and then I thought it was like it was too pandery to that, and then I made another one and I thought it was too about nothing, and then I've made like 3 or 4 videos that like I didn't put out, and then I went and made another one. But it wasn't about it's not about like impressing people or like what they're going to think of you. It's like if you don't take the right shot, it's not going to touch the right cultural nerve. Like if you go too hard on something that everyone already thinks, for a lot of times it'll just be like, yeah, we think that. So it's like if you're not going to say a point like that people haven't really said properly, then you're not really doing anything. Yeah. So it's like it's not going to touch a nerve. So I do fucking get really stressed out about all that stuff. Like I literally made a video and then went to sleep on Saturday night, and then I like woke up and I was like, okay, that can't be it. I got to do this, and I was like taking away my stupid YouTube videos. I was taking it, starting. You're
overthinking.
Yeah. No. No, it is true, but I always do that. I've done that with everything my whole life, so it's not specifically now. But I remember Howard Stern said, he was like, I went to these fucking Hollywood people. I went to Hollywood. I came back starting to think I matter. I'm talking to my wife different.
Yep.
You spend a week in fucking LA, you come back, you start thinking, like the doorman's like, "What's up?" You're like, "What's up?" You don't talk to me. You just get such an ego in that place.
I mean, I get, that's why, like, I mean, and look, man, I ain't got no big show or whatever. It's whatever. It's tiny in the scheme of everything.
We're making YouTube videos.
Yeah, exactly. And I honestly have always tried to make fun of myself, and I do try to listen to criticism, like legitimate criticism. I mean, people today will tell you, I really like somebody in the chat's like, so you fools can do bits and works, but your audience can't. No, of course you can. You can do bits and works. I think they're hilarious.
Yeah.
But
that's true. But I mean, maybe I'm misinterpreting them as a bit, but I'm saying the one I was looking at.
No, some aren't bits. Some are people that do hate us.
Yeah,
there's people that legitimately hate us, and there's people that are doing bits, which are funny. But
I find this is my synopsis. Okay, you know this world better than me. So just doing like 15, 20 podcasts. This is my synopsis. Most people's fans like do listen to their endorsement. Like if some people that follow me and I come on and I'm like, no, trust me, this guy's good, they'll usually give him a chance. Unless they used to be like O&A message board people, because a lot of those people, they had their like, they liked Colin Quinn and Patrice.
Oh, yeah.
And then those guys kind of like got too old or whatever, Kumi and the thing she broke up. So they go, all right, I guess we'll like these guys. So it's like you're already their second choice. Everyone that's like all of their favorite people from Legion of Skanks to all of it. Like it's already like you guys like you're already their second choice because they just want Tough Crowd and all that stuff to get back together. So your endorsement from like they're just like, fuck you, we barely like you.
Oh, is that that's how it happened to you? I get that. I mean, I
think so. I think those guys are like the least open to like actually legitimately checking someone new out.
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean, it's the internet too. Like there's going to be the internet. The internet is now.
Were you an O&A message board guy? Or was that more Mersh?
No, I was. I mean, years. I mean, talking.
Yeah, Patrick on our podcast was like he was one of the main guys. Like he was his whole life.
Years and years ago, I was an O&A fan. I mean, I've always said
me
it.
Too.
I was a big.
But I'm
O&A
just saying,
fan.
like the people that were like part of that subreddit, like very much. I think that they are the angriest right now because, or not the angriest, but like they don't want new people. They have their guys. That's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I think a lot of people have their guys, and it's.
So you think I'm off on that, or is it you don't want to speak ill of the O&A message board?
No, it's not. I'm not.
Or am I wrong?
I'm not even speaking ill. I'm not even speaking ill of the O&A because I used to listen to O&A. I mean, I was really into it.
The message board, you're like, I can't. You don't want to know the wrath that's getting brought down.
No. It's look. I mean, I've been bothered by people that look, man, we get called O&A ripoffs all the time. I mean, that's something that we've been dealing with.
O&A fucking ruled, and that message board was fucking awesome too.
Yeah, it was great. It was hilarious.
When it slowly just turned on everybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I wonder if that happens with everything. Do you think that happens with everybody? Because I know a lot of people that were Crowder fans, and they started, then they started turning on Crowder. And there's people that were Owen Benjamin fans, and they started turning on Owen Benjamin. And people that are fans that turn on us. I mean, isn't that inevitable for anything when somebody, it's what it's like, because you were in the music stuff. It's kind of like it's kind of like, oh man, yeah, this band was really good before they sold out. Like, there's a lot of that mentality, It's like, oh, though they were better. Like, oh no, Incubus was great when they did Fungus Among Us, but now when the new fucking album, it's like I don't like them as much. It's like that. You know what I mean?
100%. That's what less than Jake, the guy, and he goes, he's like, yeah, I mean, we're like every other band. Our first album was the best. Our second album was the biggest. Then we made 19 shitty albums after that. Mm-hmm. That's a fucking pretty funny comment.
No, it's true, but that's the mentality. It's like Metallica was only good in '89. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess there's a lot of people still seem to like them. Like, what are you going to do with that? But I think that kind of happens with everybody. When you reach a certain level, it's like, oh no, now he's a big timer. Now he's it's people are going to get mad at you if you do the wrong podcast. People are going to get mad if you do the wrong show. If you
what Corinne said, that like there is something to be said about just like having that forum for comments, because they have that big podcast or whatever, and then she was like, it was getting to the point where like it was half the people were fucking just watching tell them their shit or whatever, not half, but like, and then basically when they went behind the paywall, she's like, yeah, it all goes away. No one's paying fucking $10 a month to like tell you your shit.
Yeah, nobody wants to pay you to fucking tell you your stuff. I mean, there's some people,
yeah, and if they want to, good. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, there's some people that do that. But I mean, it's I don't know, man. It's weird, like the nature of the beast is so different now. Like even from like back, you talk about old O&A stuff, like even from back then till now, like how fucking different everything is. Like back in the day, like I don't know if I was playing, this guy that I liked and used to do AM radio, Neil Rogers. The guy's a really funny dude. But he was just local. He was like a local radio kind of shock jock, like even before Stern and stuff. Really funny guy. But back then, like, you think about it, your only interaction with like these hosts was like if you called into the show or whatever. There was no message boards. There was no Twitter.
Yeah, you have to call in and tell them their shit.
Right, to tell them that they're crap. Outside of that, like, you couldn't go to 500 different places to tell people how much shit they are or how much it suck, or on June 5th you said this, but on July 7th you said that. And you're like, all right, man.
They can't give you citations of an essay.
Yeah,
legal documents.
Yeah,
which what I find for the criticism stuff. This is kind of my philosophy on it, because you are right that like. I have an audience that, whatever, when you're like, there's a lot of these people that I'll talk about this, they know way more than me about that. Or you talk about this. So it's like, it's not like these, a lot of these people are fucking smart and funny. Like a lot of times, even when they're trolling me and I'm like, okay, that's fucking funny. But I find for terms of like when they're criticizing your show or your comedy, a lot of times they can spot problems, but they don't know the solutions. And that's like it's not just like an audience, it's anyone. Like when you're making videos or you're on stage or doing your show and someone comes up and they're like, oh, I didn't like that joke. What you need to do, and you go, no. I get that you didn't like it and that is valid. And I'll like take that into consideration. But like whatever you're about to say is going to be wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Like they always go to me. They'll be like, that didn't. The audience wasn't ready for that joke. I think you should do this. And you're like, no, that's not what happened. Like what happened is I put it behind the wrong thing, and like I didn't set. Whatever. Their audience. Like if you're doing something and an audience is like, yeah, we don't like this. That's a valid like point. But if they start being like, it's because Merch talks too much, or because of this, or I actually think the topics are like, they're just like guessing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right, and I think that's the thing, man. And I know it's an obvious statement, but it's like it's comedy. And not everyone's gonna get your joke, and some people aren't gonna fucking like it, and that's just the way it is, Yeah. And look, man, I'm not a comic. I've never done stand up. I'm immersed. I've never done any of that. What I do.
I mean, it's whatever. You're doing comedy.
I am. I'm doing comedy, but I guess my point is like I've never had to. Well, that's not true. I did try a couple years ago. Did a couple open mics, and it was not for me. But
dude, the amount of podcasters right now
Yeah.
that I did interviews with that like, I did a few open mics. Like everyone like did a few open mics.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you're just like, oh, this fucking sucks.
Well, you try it out, right? Like you try it out to see if it's something you wanted to do, and I've always liked it. But it was never. Luckily, none of my stand up or everything was ever filmed or anything, because that would be oof. But you know what I am trying to look at? I'm trying to look at my. I was trying to find like my old like when I first started podcasting, like 2006. I wanted to play it on this show and just rip on myself and how fucking.
Did you have
bad.
a radio voice?
No, I never did that. I will say proudly that I never had a radio. I never did a radio voice, but
I'd love it. Hey, welcome to Daywave. You go,
nah,
what the fuck?
I never did that.
You had slide whistles, the whole thing.
Fucking well, sound drops. I had sound drops.
Sound drops still kick ass though.
I mean, I actually, as a matter of fact, I still have this.
That is great radio.
I still have some sound drops.
Some of the old school sound bites.
Davey Crocker says, "Good morning, Royce. Hey, Ryan. Thank you, Davey Crocker, for the $5.
What up, buddy? Oh yeah.
Now I got to give Ryan $250. That's in his rider.
Ooh.
I have to give him half of any money that I make on this segment.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing I gotta get better at is making money.
Like some of the stuff we used to do back then on the old show was wild. Like we had this, and I still objectively think this bit was funny, but this has got to be 12, 13 years ago. We had one of our buddies, John, and he's a great dude, really nice guy, but just objectively, he's funny because he's not funny. If that makes sense. Like he's funny because he's just not funny.
He brings humor, but he doesn't deliver it.
Right, exactly. But I love the guy, great guy. So we had a bit where we did something called a stand-up shoot down, and this is fucking, oh God, I can't believe we did this. So he had to stand up, and he had to do it was in my apartment fucking 13 years ago. He had to do stand-up. He had a microphone and everything. He was doing stand-up. We were filming it. And every time his joke would bomb, which means we wouldn't find it funny, he would get shot by a paintball gun. Now, he wasn't wearing pads or anything.
That's classic old school radio.
He was fucking just welted up. So then the bit started to develop. The next bit that we did one every year, was a stand-up wax down, where he was really hairy guy. Is a hairy guy. He's not dead. And we covered him with wax strips all over, like the fucking wax strips all over his head. And every time he bombed, we just fucking ripped one off. And then it got really crazy because, you're trying to top it. And
of course.
We did the stand-up tase down.
Come on.
My fucking life. There's people in the chat that remember this. Every time he would bomb, and he was for it.
So was he part of the show, or he was like?
He was part of the show. He was part of our
Okay.
show. We would tase him. So that was probably the worst. And after that, we're like, we probably should stop this, because after this, we're just going to start fucking stabbing the guy with a samurai sword. But that's the kind of stuff. And, it was edgy boy stuff. And, I mean, back then, everything was edgy boy stuff, right? Listen O&A and stuff like that. And that's what you did, Oh, stand-up. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, my look at my early on the street stuff, like when I was just bugging people on the street when I was 17, it was literally walk into a store and spit on the cashier and leave. They were just so prehistoric.
It really was. And it's true. And it's there's a video, the very famous video of Mersh spitting on the Westboro Baptist church lady, just spitting on her. It's from years ago. He just spit on her, and I'm like, all right.
What's the joke? I don't know.
The joke was to spit on her. That's what it was.
16.
Yeah.
And we used to just fucking break into a school and just knock all the tables over and then leave.
That's hilarious, bro. We're ruining this guy janitor's life, bro.
Fucking worst piece of shit. And then get it on film and then have to bring people over to check it, to show them our VCRs and stuff.
Yeah.
Show them the cassette tapes.
Yeah, that was before YouTube, man.
There was a couple bangers from those days, though. When we were 14 or 15, we used to steal a car, from one of our parents, and do 20-point turns in front of buses, so the buses can't get by. And then someone would get out of the bus and yell at us, and we'd go, "I don't know, I'm trying to make the turn," on a road that was small enough that they couldn't get by after.
I did something like that.
Those were
too.
bangers.
Let me tell you one of my epic trolls. This is fucking.
Epic trolls.
Epic trolls, bro. This was like, I don't know, man, 2001, 2002. So I was 19, maybe 18, 19. And there's a road here. Well, not here, but in South Florida where I used to live that used to go from Miami. So basically from the east coast of Florida to the west coast of Florida, to the Gulf of Mexico side. And it's a road called Alligator Alley. And it's called Alligator Alley because it's just this highway with 2 lanes that runs through it, through like this marshy wetland. You see alligators on the side of the road all the time. But I was driving with my friend, and for no reason, we were just going to Naples because we'd skipped school because we were, skipped community college because we were edgy. And when we were driving, so there's only 2 lanes, and there was just somebody on the right lane that was going. The speed limit's like 70. They were going 50, this old lady. And there's this guy behind that was trying to pass the old lady. And then we got into the left lane and we started going 50 too.
That was the move. That I know the exact move. Yeah. Oh, it's the ultimate dick move.
And I did it for like miles. Okay.
They speed up, you speed up.
And then I finally got around me, and the guy fucking lost his mind, screaming. He was literally trying to run me off the road. We got to the toll booth, and he was like, "Get out of the fucking car, you piece of shit!" And I'm like, "Whoa!" And that was my And somebody goes, "How is that edgy though?" It's not. But again, that's the point. That's the whole point. It's not.
You're
edgy.
just being a little piece of shit.
You're being a piece of shit. Yeah. Somebody says, now we know why he doesn't return carts. A lot of people have been giving me shit because I say that 100% of the time when I go shopping at the grocery store, I don't always return my carts.
Oh, you're giving someone a free quarter.
But thank you. See what I mean? You understand. People don't get that, and people just get really angry at me. But
it's funny that edgy boy stuff, like, because which again we both do, but like it all like the now, because before you had to. There was some effort that had to go into it because you had to go buy a camera. You had to buy editing software. So if you were into doing that stuff, you kind of cared a little bit. Mm-hmm. Whereas now the people on the internet doing that is, it's just a guy. It's like his prank is he goes up and punches a woman in the face.
Yeah.
Like, they're so crazy right now.
I know.
Some of these guys I watch, some of those prank guys I like will reach out to me and like show me their stuff. And you're like, their pranks are like, one guy, he has a bucket of water, and he'll go and he'll just throw a bucket of water on people. Like they're just it's nothing. It's just like the worst. My prank, I went and shot a guy.
Remember a few years ago? This is only a couple of years ago when the prank was to go to McDonald's and they give you your soda to throw the soda back in their face and film it.
Oh my god!
Like that was a thing that people were doing.
That was that was modern like pranking.
Yeah, it was like, here, now you got soda on you. It's like, this guy has to work for minimum wage at a Burger King. What the fuck are you
Kids
doing?
these days, yeah. When we were pranking, I was making people's lives hell.
But that's a good point. I guess you're right.
Yeah,
exactly. I was doing the same thing. It just wasn't up on YouTube.
These kids, we're not. When we were young, we used to ruin someone with minimum wages life with integrity.
Yeah,
They didn't have to be wet after.
That's a fucking good point. I'm so glad you called me out on that. That's a really good fucking point. I just told a story about some dumb shit I did when I was younger, and now we're doing the same thing. The difference is that now it's all over the internet. Back then, it was just
and the difference is that guy's wet.
Yeah, that's a fucking good point. I don't know if I ever did that. I don't think I ever threw a drink at anybody. I mean, who knows?
I had an era of like the falling in convenience store or like falling in grocery stores to knock stuff over. I had a short era in my Tom Green like days. I had a falling over, knocking the soup cans over and pretending to fall era.
God, that's that. And I remember for the ultimate prank was putting someone's windshield wipers up when they went inside. Like, how did they just wipers go up? I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Why is that? I don't get it.
I know exactly. I don't know, bro. I couldn't tell you. Again, you're learning. You're still figuring out comedy, and you're like, this is gonna own them. This will stop them for a couple minutes.
Letting the arrows of a cop's tire was a big one for us.
Oh, you did that, really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's fucking crazy.
Well, yeah, we were fucking drunk in college in Guelph University. That's what. I mean, again, it didn't. No, they weren't in the car, so it's like a cop like leaves his car somewhere, and then you run up and like let the air out quickly and run away.
There was,
So it's like It sounds more risky than it is. It's not really like it was not that crazy, unless they come back. But that's the thrill. That's the thrill of the game.
They come back. They charge you for like defacing a police officer's vehicle and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's like all. Yeah, there was the whole like the going into churches and stuff like that and making videos in their church during the day because you can do it because during the day the theology is just open and there's only like one guy there. That was another era.
Oh God, that edgy boy! Like man, I look back at and I've talked about it on the show, but like I had like when I was younger, like my 19 in my early 20s, I was just this fucking edgelord atheist. Like you know what I mean? Like that edgy boy, like everything, like yeah, God's dead, like to the point where man, I'm embarrassed about this, and I've even apologized for people later in my life, but where you would do stuff like yeah, man, yeah, fuck it, and like I'm not talking about like having a debate, but
milk
like,
super soakers. That's what we're talking about out of the car.
Yeah, milk super soak. I know,
no,
dude.
You're talking about like I was actually gonna do a sketch about this. On my show on CBC that I still might do, but like the idea of the atheist that like someone dies, they're at the funeral, and it's like honestly, he's probably in heaven now, and you're like, actually, there isn't one. Like, just can't let it go no matter what. The college atheist that like has to bring it up no matter how
exactly.
Dire
and I was like, and I did that for and it got embarrassed about it. I mean, I like to be honest about it, but embarrassed about it where you like somebody goes, oh, I'll pray for you, and then you'll be like, oh, you pray for me really to an invisible spaghetti monster? Is that what you're gonna do? An invisible spaghetti? And I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Let people. I've learned to try to let people have their things. Like let people have their happiness,
Dude, I there's so much like things that I look back at that are so cringe. When I was in the band, I've never even talked about this.
Oh, please get into it.
One of those ones that like sits with me, that I think about like every 2 months, like, ugh. But
Yeah.
okay, so when I was kind of in like first year university and I was playing in the band, I was getting into like kind of libertarian stuff. I just read Wealth of Nations, right? So, some chick that was like a communist in a punk band or whatever, me and her were at a party and I was arguing with her or whatever. And then the next day I wrote her like a 2-page like typed out letter about why she's wrong about like her fucking like Karl Marx beliefs.
Oh no.
Gave her a fucking typed out letter. I think about that like all the time. I'm like, I'm such a fucking loser.
Oh no. Oh,
How bad is that?
Oh, that's pretty fucking bad, man. I've. Oh man, okay. I got a few cringy ones. I'll give you one. I'll give you one back since so it's mutually assured destruction.
Mutually cringy.
Yeah. Let me think here. I'll think back here. When I was in,
imagine how angry I was typing that letter too.
I
had another thing about fucking Marx.
I told
and Engels wasn't so great either.
Oh, you just read a book and you're like, oh, actually, you were the actually guy writing a fucking letter.
Dude, I fucking look back at so many of those like cringy conversations of me and my friends like getting drunk at the train tracks, just yelling about that shit. I mean, which I probably still do, but 30% less cringy now.
Man, I'm
okay. What was yours?
I'm trying to think. I've had a lot of cringe moments. Oh God, this. All right. I remember this is. Okay, I got this.
Cringe factor.
I got this. God damn it! All right, listen. This is how it goes.
I have tons of them.
This is how it goes. This one's. I'll tell this one. I haven't told this one before because I've told a lot of cringy stories on this show. So when I was in community college, so maybe 19, 20 years old, I went to community college and to brag, not to brag.
Oh yeah, like a man.
Like a man.
General arts degree from community college.
Liberal arts, baby. So there was this girl, and she was my age, at 20 years old, and maybe 20, 21. Anyway, her name was, this is her real birth name, was Barbie. And, fuck. So I liked her.
The girl ones are extra cringy. I didn't. Some of those I fucking die with.
Yeah. So I liked her, and so one day we were taking a class, and one day there was a vending machine like in the little common area, and there was like she was trying to get chips or something, and the chips got stuck. So of course I'm a hero, and I go and I tip the machine, and it comes out. She goes, "Oh, thanks." I'm like, "Hey, you want to go out sometime or blah 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 blah." And she was like, "Yeah, whatever, sure, we'll go out." So that's fine. So this is where it gets really crazy. So I call her, and I'm like, "Oh, so where do you want to go?" Now, mind you, she's 2021, so this is we're in college.
Yeah.
And she goes,
"Go ahead to start experimenting."
Well, this is the part where I've never had something like this happen before. Her name was Barbie, but her parents were Cuban. She was Cuban, and she goes, I go, "Okay, cool. Well, let's go watch a movie." And I'm like, "All right, we'll go watch a movie. Fine, whatever." She goes, "Well, here's the thing, though. My parents won't let me go to a movie unless one of them comes with me, or unless like my sister comes with me. This is on my life, mind you."
She's 21.
2021, community college. I mean, I remember this, and I'm like, what? And I mean, I still went along with it, And
yeah. So tell me her parents didn't come.
Her mom came. We're in our 20s, bro.
You went to a movie with a girl and her mom.
And her mom came. I swear to God, I showed up. I went to the movie co, and I went. And then the funniest part
Who paid? That's a good question.
I paid. Oh God,
paid for the mom.
I paid.
You brought her in. It was a fucking ruse for her mom to get a free flick.
I forgot what the movie was. But the funniest part about that,
some crappy Toy Story.
The funniest part about that is she was a hoe on top of all that. Like,
what?
Yeah, that was the craziest part. So I thought that's how it was going to be. Well, I'll explain. I thought that's how it was going to be or whatever. So then the next couple days, we go back to community college to go to whatever class that we're going to. And she, we walk up and go to class. "I had a good time last night," and I'm lying. Of course I didn't have a good time. And she goes, "Hey, you want to just skip class and hang out in your car?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" So just go to your car. So yeah, she ended up so like this whole like thing that
if you got to the car and the mom's in the back seat,
that would have been hilarious. But this whole thing that the parents are
Royce.
She's in her fucking 20s, that the parents were trying to cultivate, and it was just quite the opposite.
It always goes the opposite, right? Whenever the parents try to turn people into these like puritanical people, they always end up kind of like us.
Yeah, so she worked at Petco. I remember that.
So
too.
At least it worked out because you still smashed,
Yeah, in the back of my fucking car, I remember that. And then I also remember something that I feel really bad about to this day. Like, she was good looking, and this is true, from like the waist up, but she was very like big from the waist down.
Yeah,
she was shaped like a
Cuban mother.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, exactly. So I remember that I cared so much about what people thought that one of my friends was like, "Oh, you're dating her? Oh, she's ugly." And I was like,
"Say that."
I don't know. It's because my friends were dicks.
Nice girlfriend. She's gross.
And she's gross. And then I just stopped talking to her. But not only did I stop talking to her, Ryan, I just stopped going to the classes she was in. I failed those classes on my life. I just stopped. I just didn't go to the classes anymore. I stopped going to the classes. And I remember she had lent me her book, and I had to awkwardly go and give her book at Petco and be like, "Here's your book for the class."
Oh my God.
How's
She's
that?
Still waiting in the back of your hatchback to this very day. He'll be back any moment with that pack of smokes.
How's that for a cringe story?
Oh, that's insane. The parents at the movies.
Oh my
Very
God, yeah.
funny.
Very weird, man. Like, can you think about this? You're in college. Like, very
it's
odd.
absolutely bonkers. I got a. This isn't like a cringe story, but it's just like kind of the similar sort of vibe. But I had this guy that I went to school for. Like, he was in my like economics program or whatever, and he's like a bro. Like he was into like smashing puss. He was like a bro, and he was like, "Hey, dude, we're on like this project together. And he's, come to my you want to come eat like dinner? I'm going to my buddy's house for dinner." And I was like, I don't know, whatever. I was gonna go. He goes, come on, it's a free meal, whatever, blah blah. It's like, so he convinced me to come for dinner, but I didn't know each other. I didn't want to go to his brother's house. He drives me 45 minutes to this dinner, and I get to the dinner, and it's at his pastor's house, and there's 8 other people there waiting in the thing. And then I go, what's going on? He's like, oh, yeah, well, listen, it's not for everybody. And he brought me to his religious reading, and he goes, if it's not for you, that's fine. I remember his pastor was there with his like the outfit, but he didn't have shoes and socks on, which was like weird to me.
Yeah.
And then there's like 8 or 9 like kids. This guy's like 25. And I sat there like, and when I was in college, I sat there while he was doing like this Bible reading, and they would take turns reading. And my buddy, who was like this bro, would be like, you know, and I'm thankful for the Lord because the Lord is the only thing. He's doing the whole thing. And it was at any moment, I'm like, I'm going to end up in a basement with all of these people wearing my skin. Like, I have seen this shakedown in movies before. A little part of me was legitimately like, I don't think this ends good.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I know a lot of stuff like that where friends would kind of like, would try to fool you into thinking like, oh, it's just a hang, bro.
God.
It's just a hang, bro. And
that seems more American than Canadian. Like, I don't even know religious people in Canada.
Oh no, that's yeah. I mean, it is definitely more. But remember, I went to Christian school my whole life, up until ninth grade. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Went.
Cubans love fucking Christ, right?
Well, no. See, here's the thing. I wish that's what it was, right? Because you could say that
your parents are actually fucking atheists. You just got into it.
No, my mom, my parents are Christian, but not like go to church.
Did they hate your atheist phase?
My mom more, but the Christian. The reason I went to Christian schools, and this is the truth, because we didn't go to church every Sunday. Well, we didn't go to church every Sunday. It was because where we used to live in Miami, the schools were really bad, right? Okay. So my parents were like, look, we'll just pay and send them to a private school. Most private schools are Christian schools. And that's why I went to them pretty much for most of my life, up until ninth grade. And I sometimes wonder if maybe that's why I had that little rebellion, edgelord atheist phase in my life.
Because it got shoved in your face?
Yeah, because I mean, there's like 2 ways I think like to teach religion to people or Christianity to people, and I learned this later on. Like there's the, hey man, be a good person, do good things, if you do good things will come back to you, and I think that's a positive way to teach something. But man, I remember that the school I went to, it was more of that fear based.
Or they're like fire and brimstone.
You'll go to hell. I remember my teacher, Mr. Mendez, one day came out with a book, and it was a book of every single rock band and why they were satanic. I swear to God. And he read the whole thing. And back then, like, conspiracy stuff wasn't as easy to go, oh, that's fake. They even read like this circulating article about how Procter & Gamble was a front for like Satanists, and how the Procter & Gamble was actually in league with the devils, and you believe it because
it's exactly what's going on now with people in the woke shit.
Yeah, you believe it because you're like, oh, I guess that's what it is. But
shit, I didn't know Procter & Gamble was like that.
Neither did I. But the funny part about this Mr. Mendez guy, this teacher, was, he was super religious, but he had like this weird like tick because he fried his brain. He used to do crack. He used to smoke before he became Christian. He used to like smoke crack and like be a real piece of shit.
Oh, and he was like a reformed, like you could, this is what I did that so you don't have to.
Right, basically. And I remember that, somebody asked him like, oh yeah, my parents are going, why don't we have a dance at the school, for example? Because, schools had dances. And they're like, oh, because this is a Baptist school at the time. Oh, well, I don't believe in dancing because dancing is the lust of the flesh. And they were like, but even with your wife, like, you can't dance with your wife. He's like, no, he was big on like, no, you can't dance. It's lust of the flesh.
Those people are fucking psychos.
No, I'm fucking telling you, man. It's
what my buddy just sent me a video of just the flesh thing reminded me of it for some reason. But for a video, a guy that's libtarded from the waist down.
Oh God.
He's got Bernie, like he's normal, like he got in a car accident and he's just like libtarded from the waist down, Bernie pants and everything. but his bottom his top half is fine. Isn't that funny?
Start a GoFundMe for it.
Yeah, a guy that he can't leave his house because he's libtarded from the waist down.
He got hit by a Prius. He became libtarded from the waist down.
Yeah, so
man.
he's trying to vote, like, but his legs won't. His legs won't let him go.
Won't
to vote
let him
for
do
Trump.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Trump guy from the top up.
Oh fuck. Well, so we went over a little bit. But that's who gives a shit. It's my show. Do what I want. But when are you gonna blow up, William? When are they gonna offer you a sitcom?
Yeah, listen, that's what there is. The funny part with people that like don't work in entertainment, even that kind of like think that they'll be like, oh dude, like, oh my god, like they kind of think like it's bigger than it is. You're like, I mean, it's just fucking YouTube videos. But I think I'm around the numbers now where I think I could draw. So that's the most important part. Like, I think I could do pretty good numbers if I did tours right now. So I can do that, and then I'll keep doing. I mean, doing a video every like week and like doing the podcast and stuff like that, among all the other stuff, like that's getting pretty like 60 hours a week-ish, you know what I mean? And if I'm doing stand-up too, like, I don't know. When people say they would like a TV show right now, you go, why? I don't know. Like, if some networks, that's why these networks have to pay so much, because they used to get people earlier, and now everyone does their own thing for so long that by the time they scoop anyone up, they have these like huge fan bases. So it's like, like if so they're taking away your potential revenue stream forever to go leave for a year to make a TV show that maybe no one will watch. Maybe they'll take away from you at any moment. Like they're probably going to, be clamping down on what you can say. And you're like, well, okay, fine. But that number figure is going to have to be pretty high because there's going to be a big premium to like step away from my life right now that's going good. So I don't know.
I have an idea for you, but I get it, but I already have a name. It's a sitcom. It'll be called The Long Con. See, because Ryan Long, so it'll be The Long Con.
I've done so many long puns over the years.
Yeah, so The Long Con, and here's how it works, right? You go undercover, right? You go undercover and you pretend that you're a gay guy, right? Like to get into college. Like think Soul Brother, Soul Man. You pretend you're a gay guy to get into college, but then you fall in love with one of the women.
Yes,
but you don't. But if you come out that you're straight, you're gonna get kicked out of the college. So it's you having a bad. It's more of a movie idea. I don't know if it's a sitcom, but it's a movie idea.
You're taking baths with her, but you're gay,
right? But you're gay, so it's fine. And yeah, exactly.
What's that one called again?
The Long Con.
No, come on, that movie exists.
It probably does. I'm sure.
I think Freddie Prinze Jr. is in it, or someone very Freddie Prinze Jr.-ish.
There was, by the way, back in the early 2000s, there were like 10 different Freddie Prinze Jr.'s. It's the same guy.
The stock mold.
So here's another one. Lindsay saying, Long and Wong. It's a buddy cop movie with a funny Asian guy.
Yeah, Long and Wong. I like.
Long and Wong. See, I like that. That's perfect, dude. Somebody was saying earlier that you're gonna Joel McHale us. You're gonna just turn into Joe McHale, and you're gonna start doing like the soup. It's gonna be your next thing.
Oh, yeah, the one like the show where you just do it like in a studio audience and just they put pictures on and you'd like talk about them in front of 4 people.
Right. It's basically
that was an era of TV too. Jesselnick had one of those. There was like 4 or 5 guys that had one of those. Yeah, I feel like every comedian that was kind of popping off got a show, got like a pilot from one of those shows where they just bring like a panel of people on and make bad jokes.
Well, then there was one on MTV which was called Ridiculousness, which was that same show. But
that's the fucking Rob Dyrdek's so out of control.
Yeah, that ridiculous one is that's the same show but for people on Suboxone. So it's like
Rob Dyrdek is like the ultimate. If you did like an impression of a VJ, oh shit. Well, that's going to be a problem. That's probably about Robert Dyrdek, but like he is the quintessential of that. Whatever that is.
He's like J-Rock from Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
He's
always doing the rubbing the hands together. Like,
yeah.
You can see me, right? I can't remember.
Yeah, I can see.
But like, okay, that's why I couldn't do the impression because it's a very physical impression. But it's all like, yo, what we got for you today? We got all the good stuff. We got the best clips. We got the baddest stuff. Like it's very like extreme Wigger MTV VJ energy from the 90s.
And his show prep is basically just watching what Tosh did the week before. It's like
1000%. Yeah,
we'll just do what Tosh did.
Snap, dog.
Oh, and then
he's doing that. Oh,
and he always has like this other group of people that he can tell he hangs out with, or other personalities. But let me tell you something. I don't know if I prefer that more because remember there was that era where everything was like we love the 80s or we love the 90s or we love the 2000s. Remember, there was that era where all the comedians would go there and would just sit in a room and go like, remember Slinkies?
Dude, that's an entire. It's the member berries. Yeah, like it's an entire fucking. There was a good like chunk where it was like nostalgia was the only export for these places.
Yeah, no, that's true, and that was like, and those shows were like, we love the this or we love the that, and it goes, we love 91, and it wasn't like it started as like we love the 90s or we love the 80s, but then they saw that it was doing good, so it was like, then they went by year, like we love 1991, we love 1992, we love 1993, and you're like, all right,
dude, I have some comic friends that do that formula, like the you remember formula, and we're always fucking dogging on them. I go, hey, I forgot your set list, and then it'll just be a list of TV shows.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, sometimes
I love giving people like saying that that's one of my favorite gags is like writing fake set lists for people, like making fun of them.
Yeah.
Like getting like an ethnic comic who only does like the comparisons, and they'll just say, "Hey, you forgot your set list," and they'll just say Asian, Black, Brown, Chinese.
And to be fair, I do get a day wave sometimes. I really do get into memberberry stuff, but it's more like watching old. I'll like watching old Entertainment Tonights or Inside Editions.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everything is fine. Like all of these things that like get shit on are always like fine when they're one of your like 20 things you do.
Yeah.
The problem is when it's the only thing you do. It's ridiculous.
White people be talking like this, and black people be talking like this. Hamburger.
The funniest joke that this is my friend Garrett Jameson, who I actually made a series with in Canada. He's the funniest comic ever. He has one of those jokes that broke my brain where I like think about it all the time. But he's like kind of like a weird like Zach Galifianakis type guy, but he's like more aggressive and yells and stuff. But he goes, white people be sitting down to pee like this, but black people be sitting down to pee like this. It just makes me laugh so much. Like, why does any of them sit down to pee?
But it's that.
I know it's so stupid, but like it's one of those jokes. Like I think about that like all the time. Like, why are either of them sitting down to pee?
Yeah,
I love that joke.
Yeah, it's that is a lot.
It doesn't logically hold up too, so it like annoys you.
Yeah,
it's just like annoying. That's why.
Yeah, and that was the I was yesterday. I actually was playing. It's reminded me I was playing Larry the Cable Guy, but actually talking normal, like not doing his bit, because that whole Larry the Cable Guy thing is put on.
Yeah,
and it's Dan Whitney, and it was like I kind of
does he do interviews where he doesn't do
yeah I found one, and it's actually pretty crazy because it was him actually still doing the interview as Dan Whitney as himself, and it was just like I just like doing voices, I do different voices, and Larry the Cable Guy is a dude that's
funny.
He's easy to rip on. Obviously, it's like it's an easy one, but the guy was a fucking, like, the way he became famous was a beast. Like he used to call in as Larry the Cable Guy character to just local.
Dude, that was so many people. It sounds like that was Adam Carolla too. All these people that like got famous from calling into radio shows.
So that's what he did. He used to call into like a bunch of like radio shows as Larry the Cable Guy, as his character, and he would just call stations all over the country.
Formula.
Stations all over the country. He would call and he would do it and he would do it and he would do it and he would do it, and then finally he blew up. And he was a stand-up before that. He was doing you find his old Dan Whitney stand-up.
I knew that. I did not know that it was just from calling in places as the Cable Guy.
That's what it was. And then different shit like Bob and Tom picked him up, and other people started picking him up, and that's how he became the guy.
I love if his normal voice when you see him do interviews is like very feminine. He's like, it's just a character that I'm working on.
Yeah, it's like actually, I'm a big Bernie bro, and I just don't
getting into character. Give me my hat.
Yeah, give me my cutoff flannel shirt. I'm ready to rock.
yeah.
But that so I kind of that part of him I respect, where it's like that dude just fucking, and like think about this, like your whole life now you're this person that you're not.
Dude, my stepdad loves him.
Oh, everybody's stepdad loves him.
Yeah, he'll be like, I've just watched this really funny comedian. You'll be like, oh, who? And he'll be like, Larry the Cable Guy. You heard of him? That's so funny.
God. Yeah,
I discovered this. My mom's always discovering some hidden gem comedian, and it'll be like, It's always Jim Gaffigan. 90%
yeah.
of moms discovering comedy is Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan. It's always like, oh, Jim Gaffigan did this bit about a hot pocket. Have you heard it? And you're like, yeah, fucking 14 years ago. It was great. To the point where I even think Jim Gaffigan's getting sick of doing. You know how Jim Gaffigan does that voice where he talks to himself?
To be, dude. I get sick of like a bit after like if anything that gets heat, I like my instinct is to never do it ever again.
Right, because you get pigeonholed like we were talking about earlier, like comedians that have catchphrases. Like, you know who I feel bad for when
catchphrases is the catchphrase era of comedy was so fucking funny. Did you ever see the SNL stuff?
Yes, the catchphrase comedians of comedy, whatever. It was fucking one of the funniest things that when SNL used to be funny.
So fucking funny. Hamburger.
Yeah, it was so fucking good. But it's funny, you know who I feel bad for when it comes to that stuff is Brian Regan. Like, Brian Regan is somebody, and he's talked about it, where people yell out bits for him to do. Like, they'll be like, do the cup of dirt joke. And he does it, and like he's like
just like a dancing clown at that point.
And you know, again, good for Regan, makes a lot of money, and I think Regan's actually very funny, but he's another guy who's like, in real life he ain't that clean guy. Like, he's not that clean fucking you know, like, oh yeah, you know, I don't curse when I'm on stage. He's, you know, after a while, like, I don't think you ever want to get pigeonholed being like that, like the Larry the Cable Guy character, or, you know, the clean comic.
It's a nightmare, dude. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know how there was the comedians of catchphrase of comedy? We had a sketch that did not get picked up, but from my old show, but we wanted to do. There's this place that's like, I guess it would be kind of like Jersey where everyone's Italian. So it was called Woodbridge Comedy Tour, and it was all the Italians, and it was just like 4 like greasy fucking Italians. He goes, hey, you know, hey, what's up? He comes running in. He's got like his work suit with the paint drops from drywall still on it, you know, all that kind of stuff. He's like, you know, they talk about meatballs, and people talking about eating spaghetti and meatballs. In my family, it's a meat basketball. It's a big family. It's a big family. Like,
well, you could do it now.
Yeah, they go, hey, I know. He goes, we're talking about, you know, we eating subs at my house. They talking about 6-inch, 12-inch. In my house, we measure in square feet. It's a big family. It's a big family. All their jokes about other like family eats a lot.
I actually really like that. You should fucking do it.
Do the bit. Paul Thompson. I know. I should do that one. That's one. We always like whenever we get together, we always fucking riff out fucking the Woodbridge Comedy Tour.
By the way,
and then all their names are the best too. Hey, give it up for your next comic, Guido Coca-Calico. They've all got these like outrageous names. Coco Mecco.
Do you edit all your own stuff?
Yeah.
And you have a really pretty decent camera too.
Yeah, I have an okay one. I kind of have like a good camera for like when I was in Canada, I had like my whole crew. Like we had some fucking Reds, we had a bunch of C300s. We had like my buddy had an Alexa that we filmed a lot of stuff on, which is like, you know, like $100,000 camera. Yeah. I just bought a C100 because it's like versatile. It's like small enough, but it's still like kind of like a good camera, and it has audio input, so it's like saves a lot of time that way. But it's not like, you know, it's like the whole package is like, you know, under $7,000 probably.
Yeah. So here's something I ask you, because Mersh doesn't. Do you think Steve Martin's funny?
I don't know. I've actually. Why is that such a topic right now? Because I saw some other people post that. I think. Okay, but I don't know what either of your stances are, but I saw like people having that debate. Steve Martin is funny the way that like Tim and Eric are funny, and that like he did something that like changed. Like comedy was one thing, and he basically had an act making fun of comedy, right?
Right.
So that was funny. It's hard to look in the context. It's kind of like what Tim and Eric do. Like they were making fun of TV shows in their TV show, right?
Right.
So to me, he like changed the game, but then he has all these dumb attitudes of like, I was too big, that's why I couldn't do it anymore. I was this. And it's like, no, because the thing you were making fun of wasn't that big anymore. And then your comedy making fun of comedy became a genre, and then it's hard to do. So I think a lot of those guys, like Tim and Eric, their thing became like a genre of film, and I think that kind of happened to him. And I think he tried to rewrite it and be like, oh, I just got too big. So I think there's something like that. But I think, yeah, what he was doing was funny.
I think because, you know, I did watch one of his stand-ups, and I didn't find it that funny, but I was telling Mike,
it's fucking 34 years ago.
No, I get it, but I was telling Mike, though, I think in his movies, he's very funny. Like I
he's
thought
a funny guy.
Planes, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, The Jerk. Like you go down the list, I think he's a funny dude. Like he is a funny dude. And you're right. You're right. You watch something.
It's hipster comedy, right? Like hipster comedy is like, dude, watching like Jerry Seinfeld like 30 years ago to me is like same thing. I mean, I know you don't like him anyway, but like all of that like fucking hipster comedy, which is essentially making fun of comedy. Like you really need to like understand like the conventions of that moment to like care that he's making fun of them.
Yeah, I mean it's you're right. And
like if you were making fun of right now, like a certain type of like streamer that like talks a certain type of way, and you watch that in 30 years, like who would give a shit?
No one would know.
I mean?
That's a really good point. No one would know. You know, that's a fucking really good point. No one would get it. No one would understand.
Yeah, you'd be like, okay,
20 years from now, people are like, "Who's Ben Shapiro? Why are you?"
Right? Yeah.
About
If you were
him?
kind of like making fun of that a specific type of guy that has that, you know, just all in on whatever opinions, and then people would be like, "You're like, oh, you have to understand, there was these guys that were that, and he's making fun of that." Like it's just the context needs to be there.
Yeah, and then you're right. You know, then you go back and there's certain comics like people saying that some of their shit still holds up, and some of it's like prior stuff is still funny because
because he's talking about like race and stuff that like
exactly.
you know never changes. If you're making fun of like the like in vogue comedy conventions, like that's a small window for like going out of style.
Well, that's a good point, and I've wondered if that's how it's going to be with everybody making fun of SJW stuff. Like, you know, in 20 years from now, people are going to be like, what's SJW? What is this stuff?
You know what? I think it'll, to me, you know what? So I used to think that about Dice, because when I never really got the Dice thing that much, but I never really also picked up that he was like a reaction to like the feminist movements and stuff then.
Yep.
And then, so it never really like clicked for me why it was so good. I was kind of like, okay, I've seen guys that do this, but it wasn't then. And I didn't realize how much people hate it. So it's like when feminism kind of came back and I sort of was able to watch Dice in that context. And I was like, oh, that's why this is so fucking funny. It almost like clicked for me. Yeah. So I think that some of this stuff will kind of like not make sense. And then it'll go back around. George Carlin's so funny. I was just talking about this yesterday where he said so much stuff that both sides use him as an example.
Yes.
Like, it's so fucking funny. You see like left wing people being like, he said that, you know, people shouldn't be making fun of like the gays in this because they're the minorities or whatever. And comedy's supposed to be about punching up. Yeah. And he also said that PC is like authoritarianism masquerading as kindness and whatever. So he's like said all of these things and both sides like use, yeah, well, Carlin said this. Yeah, well, Carlin said this.
Well, what's funny about that, even going deeper into the Carlin thing, it's like, when you look back at like his quintessential, probably his most famous bit was, you know, the seven dirty words. Yeah. When you look at that bit, it back then, that was a response to conservatives trying to censor him.
Well, exactly.
And now it's the opposite. Now it's like conservatives like, you should be able to say what you want. It's like everything is so fucking flipped and so turned around.
Crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, if he was there today, I mean, like, you don't know what he would have been, but like his bit, you could literally replace 7 different, like, you know, liberal buzzwords in there. Yeah, I think that's a good point too. But it's very interesting with Carlin specifically because all those left wing guys, Lenny Bruce too, like they think of him as like a big guy for the left, and you're like, well, yeah, but the thing was switched then. You know what I mean?
Well, but that's the thing. It's like everything's switched, and like even like what liberal means or what conservative means is different. Like, I think that if Carlin was doing his same stuff today, he'd be considered moderate in terms of political views because, like you said, because I don't think he would go along with the you can't say those words and that's offensive.
I can't imagine like he would unless he was just old, like in, you know, over arguing. But like if like we're talking about like someone like that whose entire thing was pushing back against like people that were telling, you know, what you can do and what you can't do. I can't imagine he'd be like, but this time they're right. Like, you know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And you know that it's funny because you're right. Both sides try to use him as they're like, well, Carlin said this. Well, Carlin said that. It's like, you motherfuckers didn't even know about Carlin. A lot of these people didn't even fucking watch Carlin until they come up in their Facebook feed, you know?
There's 2 different types. It's not about left and right. There's 2 people. You're based or you're not based.
You're based or you're based or you're a cuck, and that's it, bro.
You're based or you're based.
There's nothing else, bro. All right, man. We got to hop off.
Okay,
plug your shit, homie.
Yeah, dude, awesome talking to you.
Boys Cast.
And just last thing to the fans, anyone who says I don't like these guys, I think you guys are the best.
That's perfect. I'll tell Mersh, and I'll you know what I'll do is
let the Reddit thread state.
Yeah,
I'm fucking for the dogs.
I'm gonna talk to Mersh, and I'm gonna let him know.
Yeah,
there's
I'm still against him. I made him.
Of course, there's a ceasefire, and
I'm gonna just have like just you on the Boys Cast and Mersh.
That would be hilarious. And one day when Mersh
and just say it's Revenge of the Sis.
And one day when Mersh takes off, I won't even tell him, and I'll just have you on. I'll just have you on in his place. That'll be great.
To promote Daywave Fest.
Oh, that'll be great. That'll be a Daywave Fest. All right, man. Thanks for being on, bud.
Okay. All right,
Take it easy,
buddy.
dude. Later, Ryan.
Peace.
That's Ryan Long. Hey, sorry, JJ. I know I went over. I know you want to do your show, man. So I do apologize for going a little bit over here. Let me play some of these.
Whoa! Look at that.
There is a possibility that they don't want people seeing how bad his dementia has gotten.
Oh, Biden?
If he gets selected, whoever is VP will literally be president almost right out of the gate.
Oh, absolutely.
Who knows at
without
this
a question.
point? It is an interesting thought, though.
It is.
Whoa! Look at that.
People want something to be funny and to play to their feelings 100%. If it doesn't, it can't be funny. Much love to you and Ryan. Guys, Chappelle stole my jokes.
Whoa! Look at that.
Regarding Chappelle's Floyd special, a good 910-minute portion of it was devoid of comedy. It was just heavy preachy stuff. Ayano Main just was surprised by him going this way as a tenured comedian.
Whoa! Look at that.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. JJ's up next. JJ Stoner, dlive.tv/JJ Stoner. Go check him out, of course. He is my bud. Known him for a billion trillion years. Go check him out. Let me get here. I have to pull my outro up here. All right, there it is. I wasn't even ready. All right, there it is. Guys, thank you for listening. I'll be back with ROTC here in a bit. I hope you're there. I hope all of you have a fantastic and wonderful Daywave.
You like the vamp, huh? Vamp till ready, huh? The hot says she is dripping and the fence she's fallen down. My pocket needs some money so I can go into town. My brother isn't working and my sister doesn't care. The car, she needs a motor so I can go anywhere. Mañana, mañana, mañana is good enough for me. My mother's always working, she's working very hard. But every time she looks for me, I'm sleeping in the yard. My mother thinks I'm lazy, and maybe she's right. I've gotta work mañana, but I gotta sleep tonight. Mañana, mañana, mañana is good enough for me. Oh, once I had some money, but I gave it to my friend. He said he'd pay me double, it was only for a lane. But he said a little later that the horse, she was so slow. Why he gave the horse my money is something I don't know. Mañana, mañana, mañana is good enough for me. It's